All the good conversation.
No, we don't talk about that stuff on.
We don't talk about it.
Stay on
At least not
topic.
currently.
Stay on topic.
Yes.
All right, here we go. Good afternoon, folks. Welcome to Smudcast number 488. Cuphead, Cuphead, the fake outrage. Outrage, like an outage on power.
I'm here for the
Yeah,
I'm here for the wrong pronunciations.
Yeah, I know. I'm listening to you too much. I guess you're rubbing off. I have to read
that's a sick burn right
I have
there.
to read everything
I'm
literally.
influence.
It's like I read every
I'm
letter
an influencer
literally in English. And it's like, this is how you read now. It's like, no, that's not how English is pronounced. Anyway, we're doing a video from Shaun. I don't know who Shaun is. That's the name of the YouTube channel, Shaun.
Come on, man. Everyone knows who Shaun is.
I guess
It's horrible.
I guess
Why?
so.
Why does he get millions now? Back in the, nobody watched his crap because it has nothing in his head. He speaks super slow.
Okay, well,
So slow that Teal Deer got fed up.
if
with
you
it.
actually go to
Yeah.
this video called Cuphead, the fake outrage, and you read the description, it says, "It is with a heavy heart that I must announce that the gamers are at it again. Content warning, mega racist cartoons." So already from that description, we know exactly where this guy is from. And I just did a quick click on his Twitter account just a few minutes ago before the stream started. And he has his profile on his Twitter account saying he, him. Nothing else aside from links to his Twitch account and I think his YouTube channel.
Of course it says he, him.
Of course.
And he didn't have that on back then. He added that when it became on vogue, when the left invented the pronoun stuff.
So I hate saying this,
Yeah.
but it's like every time we cover one of these people, these boxes just keep getting checked, and we're like, okay, I mean, this is what's going to happen.
I hope it becomes more obvious to people, because for like the 50 or 100 years that this tranny shit is being scientifically looked at, the pronoun shit was never necessary. But now they invented it for the trannies. The trannies don't even care about it. They resent it because it's antithesis to what they actually need and want. And all these virtue signaling ideological blah.
Right. So
People they adopt it and say, "Oh, look at me!"
Well, in this case, this video is about half an hour long. It takes a while to go through. I only went through a third of it so far, and he's just trying to wrap his head around what the outrage is. Because again, the title is the.
We can watch it at double speed, and he sounds like a normal person.
I didn't think of that. That's a good.
Is it so it's as bad as Movie Bob then?
No, Movie Bob.
No, he's more a snarky renegade cut.
And even then, that's not saying much.
Let's see. Let's try 1.25. Let's try that. Okay.
No, don't people need to experience the normal thing first?
Depends how long you're gonna be here, Wisp. Like, do you want to actually listen to this guy for half an hour, which is like 5 hours in our time?
No.
All right, let's try normal speed. Let's start now.
For a minute.
Yeah,
Give him a minute on normal speed, and then we've suffered enough.
All right.
Yeah, we might as well gauge it first. Yeah.
Okay. In case you guys don't know, we do have Alex here with us, and he is an expert on Cuphead. Just in case one of us don't know what the hell we're talking about, we have someone to lie to, so that's good. All right, here we go.
Say that as if people know who I am.
Yeah. One final thing. He has this avatar where he has the skull with sunglasses on that have the letters S and J in them, because his original channel name was Shaun and Jen. However, nobody ever figured out who Jen was, and he certainly didn't tell. Jen never made an appearance, and people believe Jen never even existed. And nobody knows anything. My guess is that it's just a veiled thing to have the letters for social justice in there.
Well, it is possible.
He was faking having a girlfriend.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think he was originally going to do a YouTube channel with his girlfriend. She never got into it, and he just kept talking about politics. So,
I mean, politics are a big turn-off for me too, Chief.
Yeah.
It was also funny when this thing came out with where BreadTube was, before that was a name, making complaint videos. Oh, what's with anti-SJWs having skulls for avatars all the time? And you have Shaun and Jen in the same video with a skull as an avatar. Oh.
All right. Anyway, let's not get on.
Yeah, now it just looks like an overcompensation.
Let's just get on with the video, guys. Kyle Rocket, thank you for the donation, sir. Be honest, scale of 1 to 100. How brutal are my brain cells going to die? You know what? First 10 minutes, I was just going, yep, these are the facts. It's very slow moving. So, I don't know, get a pop, get a drink, get something going, do some push-ups, do some sit-ups, whatever keeps the blood
I'd give it an
going.
honest 46.
Yeah, it's nothing incendiary. It's just this bizarre slow burn. You're like, okay, yeah, sure. Okay.
And I have not seen a video from this guy in I think 4 years.
Yeah, and keep
This
in
is my
mind,
first time watching this dude's content.
yeah,
Same here.
And that was never voluntary.
Yeah, this video came out 4 years ago, and that's when roughly the Cuphead review or preview or whatever it was came out as well.
That's the year the game itself came out.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is an old video?
Yeah. So 5
Yeah.
years ago.
Oh god, I feared he
I was
made
a
a new
freshman in high school when this came out.
Yeah. All right, let's
one.
go.
Hello everyone. Today I'd like to talk about Cuphead, and more specifically a few completely real controversies related to Cuphead that definitely happened
Controversies?
and matter. But first
That's
of
just
all,
how he talks.
what is Cuphead?
Yeah.
Well, it's a video game. A rather
letters
good
are
video
not in
game
the-
in my opinion. It's a side-scrolling
glasses.
run-and-gun game in which players
awesome
control
name right
the
here.
titular Cuphead with his pal Mugman in co-op mode. Now, Cuphead and Mugman are both in trouble after finding themselves on the wrong side of the tracks and losing at dice in the Devil's Casino. Indebted to the Devil, the duo have to track down the Devil's runaway debtors and collect their soul contracts for him. It's a pretty neat game, and I'd recommend playing it if you haven't. It has a reputation for difficulty, apparently, but I beat it fairly easily, to be honest, and it didn't even take me that long, either. But then again, I am brilliant at the computer games, and thus have earned the right to talk about them. So given that I'm not a game review
Okay, so he's a bit slow. We're going to speed it up. 1.25. See how that goes.
channel, you might be wondering, why am I talking about Cuphead? And that's
See,
because
he sounds
Cuphead
normal
is
now.
racist, ableist, and out-of-touch elitist games journalists all hate it because it's too difficult.
Oh, wow.
You know, Cuphead is racist! That game it's animation style, it's based around those racist cartoons from the 1930s and 40s, so clearly the game is the embodiment of racism! Oh, I can one-up that. It's actually ableist. That's right, it's ableism, and it's just in its most concentrated form, in a form of interactive entertainment, and then I had to go and just shut this shit off and take a couple steps away from my social media feed, because no matter where I went, every single fucking corner of the internet was caked with shit sticking to a wall so fucking bad that even the flies decided, you know what, I can go elsewhere. This is the kind of stuff that I was seeing all the time, based around Cuphead.
That's a ranty chap called Alpha Omega Sin, telling it
Does anyone know what happened to this guy?
Nope.
He just went dark for whatever on YouTube, but he's still online. He's still on Twitter and wherever else, so... Don't know
This is
what
also a channel I've never heard of before this video.
Oh, he,
I might have seen
I've seen this
of
channel.
him, but I don't remember the name at all.
oh yeah, he does rants all the time about games, or used to rather, and then he just disappeared. And you're like, what happened? What happened to this?
Yeah, this is one of the guys that usually gave some pretty good takes on certain situations, especially during the era where Capcom was really in their ass with how many bad decisions they were making.
It reminds
Mega
me.
Man, where are you?
Well,
Exactly.
He reminds me of a more ranty Razor Fist. More screaming, less points to be made, but still, good guy. He's just
Yeah,
no longer there.
yeah. Compared to Razor Fist, Alpha Omega Sin had a better batting average in terms of good takes with certain things.
Yeah. Here's,
Mark in the chat says YouTube started copywriting his content.
oh,
What?
Figures. When it doesn't make sense, even though most of his content is just him talking.
yeah.
Where are we streaming this, by the way?
Where are we streaming it? On
YouTube.
Yeah.
On my channel, YouTube channel, Smudboy.
Yeah, on his
Okay.
channel, YouTube.
JS, thank you. He talks like H Bomber on Benzos. Geez,
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I don't think I've watched H Bomber since the last few years, since we covered one of his videos. I think that was about it.
Oh god.
Yeah.
I never want suggestions from him in the polls. Okay, please don't. I know this is probably a self-fulfilling prophecy now.
Well, all these guys seem to be in the same conglomerate of idea or mindset. It's kind of weird.
It's a hive mind. It's basically always watching the same video, but with a different skin and deep fake AI voice. like they're not real people. It's all one AI behind them all, and it's faking to be different people.
And they always have the same tell for that too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, long videos, British accents, and all kinds of left-leaning politics. Pretty much, that's how it goes.
Pretty much.
It's 500,000 Cuphead is apparently receiving all the time
Not
in
apparently.
every single corner of the
What your
internet.
site was
And
pushing.
he certainly seems rather worked up about it, so I'm sure it is actually happening. But I have to ask, for the sake of argument, who is it who is actually attacking Cuphead? Who are these scoundrels?
And this is a game that I got to play and I enjoyed the living fuck out of, yet now due to the game's difficulty, because it's actually a challenging game, not fucking impossible, an actual challenging game, they think that, that's ableist! And they think because of the art style that it is racist.
I never got to play it because I'm just not a friend of the animation style. That has nothing to do with what from when it is. I just don't like this old style of animation.
That's fine.
So that's why I never bought it, never played it.
Honestly, a shame.
Alex.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it. I've heard it. That it's very well designed. How difficult is it really?
I don't know how to judge it specifically, but my friend who does videos on Cuphead says the only thing this game has in common with Dark Souls is the difficulty, and even then, Cuphead surpasses it. So take that for how you will.
Cuphead surpasses Dark Souls, you say? Okay, because the
In a
thing
certain
I would
way,
judge it
yes.
by, because it's a run and gun combined with bullet hell to dodge.
And a boss rush.
Yeah. So
Yeah, they were making fun of the
thing-
whole, this game is as hard as Dark Souls, blah, 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 blah. It's the Dark Souls of platformers.
Yeah. So my question to that would be, the thing I would relate it to is, how does it relate compared to Toho games? Because I've played those years ago to wake up and get into a meditative state when I was stressed out.
Yeah, Cuphead's nowhere near as hard as Toho.
Absolutely not.
So the only
I would. If you want a Dark Souls of bullet hell, then I'd say play Toho, not
yeah the
Cuphead.
Exactly.
Also, Mark in 3D gives a very good comparison, like the Super NES and Genesis era of gaming difficult.
Yeah, the whole get good
That would-
thing, which I've actually mentioned on an earlier
Yeah, but
Smudcast.
that would not be hard. That would be normal. SNES platformers were not
true.
hard.
There were a couple that were. It was more
like
so.
that
It was
freaking-
more so the 8-bit era than the SNES era.
Yeah, but that's
games
because
like
they're
Castlevania, Goblins and Ghosts.
Yeah.
And if we want to
Yeah,
go to the Genesis era, there was this game called Comic Zone on the Genesis.
It was more rare in that era. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's why I'm thinking I couldn't call it hard, because those games back then, they were not the arcade machine difficult that were supposed to give you to drain your pocket money, but they were not on the level of run from start to finish without a problem. You could actually lose lives, especially when you played it at 6 to 8 years old or something. But I don't see that. I've played platformers, I've played bullet hells, I looked at Cuphead footage, and I thought, like, this looks like a normal game.
And I grew up with a
It
lot
looks
of
normal.
Super
I can't
Mario
say
Bros, so
for
this is
sure
a-
because I haven't played it, but it looks like a completely normal game.
Yeah.
I grew up with like New Super Mario Bros on the DS, so it was kind of a shock to the system to see this. I still loved it a lot.
That's fair.
So here's Kyle Rocket. Wasn't there someone so stupid they couldn't pass the effing Cuphead tutorial?
We'll get to that.
Yeah, we're gonna. cover
We'll get to that,
in
yeah.
the video. Yeah.
Yeah. Beaten by a
Really
5-year-old.
Basically applying fucking labels wherever gamers and journalists that are saying this kind of shit. You've got to be fucking kidding me that this is what's happening. A game does not deserve this kind of bullshit, yet it's happening anyway.
It's happening anyway, apparently. So it's fake gamers
Yeah,
and
it
air
is.
quotes journalists who've been attacking Cuphead then. Now, Mr.
air
Alpha
quotes.
Omega Sen rants for a solid 16 minutes in much the same vein as what you've seen, but at no point actually identifies who it is specifically he's shouting about. He does a lot of impressions of imaginary silly people calling Cuphead racist and refers to a nebulous they a lot of times, but never actually calls out anyone.
So what he's doing here, what Shaun is doing here, is he is completely obfuscating and gaslighting. He's plain lying.
Yeah.
Because
So
he knows plain well who is making all these complaints and remarks, and that is his political side.
so we can do a
And
Google
it's been
search.
his political side before Cuphead.
We can do it.
Cuphead was just one of the peaks.
We can do a simple Google search and look at articles from back as 2017, because that's when the game came out, all the way up to today. So just one last month I saw talking about Cuphead and racism and this and that. Some of them are defending the game, some of them are attacking the game, and some of them are journalists, some of them are just Twitter accounts. There's all kinds of talk about it, and it doesn't matter what it is. If it's even remotely smelling of something that is against the dogma of whatever is popular or whatever is hot to talk about, is oppressive or not woke enough or this or that, it's going to be talked about. So I don't think the outrage is a big deal, or to talk about it, because I didn't really care. I was like, yeah, whatever. Just a bunch of random people on Twitter and a bunch of dumb websites talking about animation being racist, which is silly. But it's still a reaction for someone like Alpha Omega Sin or anyone else who's into gaming to go, yeah, this is overblown. This is like, let it go, guys. It's just a game. It's a side scroller. It's fun. That's all there is to it. There's nothing adult about it. There's nothing like, you know, the Fleischer animation was like very violent, or did have some racist backgrounds to it in the day. There's nothing like that in Cuphead. There's nothing at all. So
There really isn't.
Yeah, it's like
they got away with some
because
stuff they
there
would
is
be able
this
to. I'm sorry.
alleged reference for using the same style, and therefore it has the racism cooties, and therefore it must not be used.
it's kind of like
That's
equating.
that's the purity spiraling of these activists.
Yeah, it's like equating all Japanese anime is porn, because there was some porn back in the 80s that they came out with. I can't remember what it was called, but it's like, oh, it's all just adult animation. Like, not really. No, that's silly. So
Yeah, but then we need to shut down West US cartoon things because they created things like Big Mouth.
Ugh.
Exactly.
Fair. Yeah, true.
well, it's
I find it funny that Cuphead got away with some things that they wouldn't have been able to back in the 1930s. Like Cala Maria. That shell broth thing would not have flied back in the day.
It would not have.
it's just a broad brush. You should not be painting on anything just because of an animation style or a musical style. Is the music like ragtime? Like, what is it? Is it
It's a mix, like swing, like the music you would hear in the background of the cartoons themselves, and even some friggin' samba music.
cool? You see, the ragtime I actually enjoyed, or the big band stuff. That's kind of cool from that era.
It is very cool. And even some references to Mario World. If you play the Funfair level, you can even hear the athletic theme in there.
Yeah, the Fun Fair actually does take inspiration from the same kind of jig that Mario World did for that.
Nice.
It's apparent.
Yeah, I'm always
That is what we would call a homage.
yeah I'm always
Or a
Exactly.
leitmotif.
I'm always reminded of the Betty Boop cartoons, just because
Ugh.
I know it's just this is what
That is I think that is the main reason why I dislike this Fleischer animation stuff, because I was so disgusted by this character as a kid. He's so I don't even have the words. Just
Wasn't a fan, basically.
yeah, it's
Yeah, because-
repulsive.
oh, yeah, wait.
Absolutely repulsive design.
Remind me, yeah, Betty Boop was Fleischer, wasn't it? Mm.
Yes, I think so. And
Huh.
but my mom
I tend to forget that.
my mom always
Yeah,
tells
the
me
cartoons ran here in the 90s still, and it was like, ugh.
yeah, my mom was a fan of those kinds of animations and Warner Brothers animations, like all those classics. So
Like Felix the Cat.
yeah, all those old ones that I never grew up with, and you could see the progression of how they got better. And
Yeah.
Yeah,
I-
Warner WB was the undisputed king of animation in those early days. In those
Well,
early
that-
years.
I do remember it being very fluent, but I just completely hated the character design. That's all. Ah,
I can see where you're coming from. Yeah, I'm not any kind of partial towards that design either.
Like, I grew up watching Felix the Cat and some Bugs Bunny, but overall I was mainly raised on stuff like Blue's Clues and SpongeBob.
The usual things. The usual things. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel old now.
Here's JJJ Madness. Thank you for the membership as well as the super chat. Thank you, sir. As we all know, games journalists aren't here to play games, but to lecture people how political correct they are and tell others how evil the human race is. Well, in the case, in the case of the person, and I think everyone here, if you haven't read it, the original article, Alex, you told us that the guy actually says, "Yeah, the game's great. I'm just not good at it." So
Yeah, he takes responsibility instead of blaming the game.
right.
Yeah.
So his actual 30-minute or whatever gameplay is up, and you could watch it at any time. It's kind of funny because he just gets destroyed. He does get past the tutorial level, but he seems to be having problems. I don't know.
Eventually.
Yeah, I don't know if that's just not his style of game. Maybe he was like preoccupied.
Oh no! You mean the original failing games journalist?
Yeah, Dean Takahashi. Yeah,
Dean Takahashi. Yeah.
Yeah, Dean
The
Takahashi.
thing is, he backpedaled. What you're referring to is his backpedaling. He was really pissed when he failed at
really?
At the tutorial. He was
Really?
an absolute asshole.
Oh
And
yes. Now I remember.
Afterwards, after he got so much flack for this, he backpedaled.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's good because he corrected his mistake.
How long ago was the original article written? Like, how long after the gameplay was the article written?
Well, the original article was not a review, it was a preview, and that came with the video, I think. So that was, and when we saw the video, that I remember the tweets and the little clips of him not being unable to jump over that column, and people were like, this can't be real, like this is ridiculous. But it's a whole 30-minute clip, so there's all these other things, like he gets destroyed in the first level, you just can't pass it.
He just randomly runs into bullets.
It's a weird, yeah.
And then randomly goes right, like it's like he must. I'm sorry to say this, but it seems like he has some mental disorder.
Watching him play,
maybe
is
there's something
odd,
he can do, but this is not it. Like it's like he can't focus.
I don't know.
He can't focus his attention on the things that are on the screen. There are too many things on the screen.
At the very least, he corrected his mistake. He says, "Yeah, this isn't for me. The game's awesome." Blah blah blah. So it's like, good. Okay, you knew that the challenge was too high for you, or whatever the problem was. It doesn't matter. Good for him. So in my book, Dean did a good job of figuring out and not being a moron, and changing his mind. He's saying, "Yeah, okay, this is not for me. I can't get into it," and that there is nothing wrong with you picking up a hard game and going, "Yeah, this isn't for me." Nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
We see that. I wish we saw more of that with Elden Ring these days, but
like the guy we had on.
Looks really fun.
Like the guy we had on the Sisyphus experience. 7 minutes of ranting that he bought this game without knowing anything about it. He wanted to get from movie reviews to video game reviews, bought Elden Ring blindly, knew nothing about Dark Souls, had never heard about it, and was just dying for 4 hours, and then complained that games like this shouldn't be made.
It's kind of funny because all the hardcore players, or even the players who they're not that good, but they like the Demon Souls, Dark Souls style, they all want to be like, they all want to roleplay. As soon as they get into Elden Ring, the gut sword is right there. Oh, now I can be a mage. I can just blow everyone away with my flying sword. Like they all have this great fantasy in their head. They can't wait to get in and get destroyed.
Yeah, because it's finally a game that takes the player seriously in regards to, hey, I'm gonna challenge you.
Yeah, and it feels
like I respect the player a lot.
Yeah, and it feels so good once you get good at those games because the game is brutal and there's no difficulty setting. It's just this is the way it was made. Everyone has the same challenge. And you're like, oh.
Mm-hmm.
And even Cuphead has something like that. There's a simple mode, but if you do simple mode, A, you don't get to progress in the story, and B, you don't get to see a lot of the phases of the fight, the good ones.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Have you ever played Kirby's Dream Land?
Oh, yeah.
The first one on the Game Boy?
Yes, I have. Isn't after you beat the game, you get like an expert mode?
Yes, it tells you what buttons you have to push at the same time. I think it's down, B, and select at the same time. and then it switches to hard mode. And
I
when
heard that
you're
was
like,
actually really difficult, especially
When-
for a Kirby game.
yeah, and I did that when I was 6 years old, played through the game, got hard mode, and was like, whoa, holy shit, what's going on? And then it's a proper game. And Kirby games love to do that. Sakurai seems to love to do that he makes these wonderful, simple games for kids, and then they have this, somewhere in there is this really hard challenge.
Like the True Arena in the modern games.
Yeah, and I love about Kirby's Dream Land 1. The later ones didn't have this, I think, but Kirby's Dream Land 1 had this. The entire game is second time in hard mode, and you had earned the hard mode. And that's why I wanted to beat the hard mode, because I had earned to play it. That was amazing.
Which is something that an idea that would also carry over, different company, I know, but that would also carry over to the Devil May Cry series.
Yeah, and the levels themselves were funny, because also it had completely new enemies that you never saw in the original.
Wow.
So that's like all the little chicks. They were proper grown-up hens now.
Wow.
Mhm.
And the bosses, they had moves, new moves, and were faster. Like not Krakow. Krakow is the cloud. Is the fun
Yes.
cloud. Yeah, the other one, the Zeppelin, that was I think only in Kirby's Dream Land 1. That did like mad attacks with like almost a bullet hell style thing. Like super predictable in normal mode, and in hard mode was like, whoa, what's going on? It's completely obliterated me as a kid. It was great.
On the flip side, Wispy Wood speaks for itself.
What speaks what?
So
Wispy
Wispy
Woods was a
Woods,
tree.
the tree boss.
Oh yeah, he suddenly didn't just have apples falling, but also the little star thingies.
Yeah, which is in itself is a run.
Damage you.
Before we go back to the videos, like that's a running gag in and of itself. It's like Wispy Woods being always being the first boss, but people fail to mention whenever the harder mode kicks in, how much more versatile the Wispy Woods and all the variants become.
My personal favorite is Flowery Woods from Triple Deluxe.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that Sakurai always has Wispy Woods in, and some of the other bosses, but it's always a little bit different.
Yes.
Like in the last thing I played since it had a different name. Here it was Kirby's Fun Pack. In the original it was Kirby Superstar.
Superstar.
I missed all the games in between, and then played Kirby Star Allies, and Wispy Woods. Oh god, it's really annoying. And then it was just creative, going through the seasons and doing massive shit. The tree jumping around and spawning other crap. It's great. Same boss, new stuff. That's how games should be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, let's get back.
Yeah, going back to the hard mode thing, we got hard mode with Kirby's Dream Land, Devil May Cry with its modes, and then Devil Will Cry with Cuphead.
Yeah. The point is that the developers have always tried to find those ways to challenge the player and have you earn it at the same time.
Yeah.
Which is also true of Cuphead with the ranking system.
The only thing here I think would be wrong is that Alpha Omega Sin said that gamers are complaining about Cuphead. I don't think gamers complained about Cuphead. That is actually a
Misnomer.
Necessary critique here, solid critique. With Elden Ring, we see people having bought the game and actually complaining because they probably expected something different, or because they bought it because George R. R. Martin, or some, I don't know what. And the sales numbers for Elden Ring are so through the roof that there's certainly a few buys in there that are a bit frustrated because they've never played a game like that. I can imagine that, but I would say that's a negligible minority.
But that's always been part of the appeal, and no one's had a problem with it.
Yeah, and maybe you'll come back in a year to the game and think, I'm gonna beat this now.
Yeah,
because that's how I beat Pitfall when I was a kid.
Exactly.
It's way too hard
brings
at
a really
first.
good example.
Yeah, it was way too hard at first. Played it again a couple of years later, and whoa, I beat it. Amazing.
All right. Anyway, let's get going.
But that said, yes.
One more from JJJ Madness. Even in kids' games like Kirby, you had to learn to get good. Yeah, this is all platformers, all 2D side scrollers. You can go to even the N64, same concepts for certain side scrollers or platformers. So Ninja Gaiden, Mega Man, all the same idea. So
Speaking of 64,
Gaiden.
As
Ninja Gaiden.
Mega Man.
Gaiden.
okay.
Gaiden. Arcade 3D brings up
Yes.
a really good example of another expert mode, Star Fox 64, where you get wing damage real easily.
Oh yeah, that's another one. It's like you rarely got to be in your A game for that one specifically.
64 have a. Oh wait! I have to think. Yeah, that was called Lilith Wars in Germany.
Yeah.
That had a hard mode.
Yeah, the expert
64
mode.
did, yes. Yeah.
Did I miss that or did I forget about it? Because I remember I got gold everywhere and the maximum kills everywhere and all the things freed, but I don't remember there being a hard mode.
I'll look this up real quick.
All right, let's continue.
Maybe it was a separate difficulty option and you probably didn't even bother back then. I don't know. But with that said, yeah, let's keep going.
Moving on to
Also-
Cuphead.
Killer. And that makes the comments under his video. Examples. Alex Barranco says, I'm going to say this and I don't give a flip what anyone thinks.
Okay,
These
I know what you're thinking,
buffoons
that's not
claiming
me.
Cuphead is racist and ableist are proof that the
No,
world
we know,
has
we
people
know.
that should be euthanized. If my opinion hurts anyone's feelings, I say, forget your feelings. Bot Smokey says, SJWs are cancer, kill them with fire. Ty says, holy shit, really? These SJW knows no bounds. Sometimes I just wish they would nuke the world back into the Dark Ages and we could just start over. SJW would not last long in that kind of world.
But you're jumping around. You're not reading everything here. I've been taking a well-needed break from this toxic, straight-up soul-sucking news of SJW whining and crying about something every fucking day. I wonder why you left that out, Shaun.
Gee. The tough one.
I wonder why you left that out. Then the other question is, why did you put it on the screen?
Mm-hmm.
Void Skull.
Fucking Christ. And Lilith, aka the Firehawk, says, fuck SJWs. I have epilepsy and I just beat Borderlands 2 yesterday. Hell, I dare these people to say to me Cuphead is ableism. I might just lose control around these.
Good on you, Lilith. Awesome. You're awesome, Lilith. Just wanted to say that.
Great.
People.
Or imagine
These
someone
people.
with
And this is
epilepsy
something you
being
see
Mega
over
Man,
and over
like,
again in these
I
comments.
can't even
These
imagine.
people. Dude, I didn't know until I saw this video that people were saying this shit. I totally agree with you, Alpha. These people are dumb. And like, who? Who are they?
You, Shaun. You.
The SJWs, yes.
Yes, you're fucking brood of communist idiots.
Yes.
Complain about everything, make crap up, virtue signal, have Munchausen syndrome to feed their narcissism and histrionicism. And if they don't have that, they go on and become hypochondriacs about other shit.
Well, as I said before, just go to Google, search for Cuphead 2017 or around those eras. You'll see lots of posts from websites you've never heard of to Twitter posts, all saying roughly the same thing about this being bad or racist or ableist or who knows what else. So it's not a big deal. Like, I don't think this is a big deal, but it's people reacting to people's bad takes, which is causes hit like Alpha Mega Sin or other people to make those reactions on YouTube.
You know, who are these people? How did this guy can whip up his audience into such a rage that they're wishing for every sort of violence up to and including nuclear annihilation directed at a completely undefined enemy?
No, the enemy is very defined. You even read several times SJW, social justice warrior. That means socialists. That means communists. You know, the kind of people with the ideology that wrecked several hundred millions of people on the planet just in the last century. Only in the last century. And it has existed for much longer. And it always ruins everything and everywhere and everyone where it comes across. And you are a proponent of it. And your vapid critiques of video games, of movies, of comic books, and then getting into these industries and taking them over and then turning it into just your hollow, soulless propaganda is exactly the problem. And you sit here and act like, oh, I don't know who you could be talking about. This is completely an undefined group. Oh no,
These people do not exist.
Yeah. I have no idea what you're talking about. Just continue. There's nothing going on here. Don't look at the big fire behind me. Just keep on walking. There's nothing to see here. You bloody gaslighter. Why are there so many gaslighters in this movement? Bloody psychos.
Yeah, at this point, it's just unbelievable.
Is it me, or is that rather odd? So what we're going to do
you.
today, Cuphead became the latest battlefield for capital G gamers on one side and, quote, these people on the other. And along the way, we'll see if we can find any examples of these people and see what, if anything, they've actually said about Cuphead. So to start off here, back in August at the Gamescom event in Germany...
I am sure you will be very, very non-partisan here, Shaun. I always want to say Jen for some reason. I don't know.
In Germany, a beat writer named Dean Takahashi played a preview write an article about it. The footage of his attempt was uploaded to VentureBeat's YouTube channel, and his below-average gameplay garnered some attention, shall we say. Now, Takahashi's article acknowledges his poor performance, starting out, I suck at Cuphead, let's get this out of the way, and later saying, go ahead, laugh your heart out at my expense. While my performance on the captured video below is quite shameful as I never finished the level, I think it shows quite well why Cuphead is fun, and why making hard games that depend on skill is like a lost art. So, what happened here? A dude was bad at a video game for half an hour. He blames his own poor play, not the game, he calls it fun. He's self-deprecating.
Yeah, but he did that after the video was already out for so long. I don't remember whether he talked over this video. But if you just look at his gameplay, that is not how a grown-up plays. That is completely... that grew up like a normal person with a normal brain. I don't mean this in an insulting fashion. From looking at this gameplay, it looks like Dean Takahashi is just incapable of playing such a thing.
Well,
there must be something going on with him. I'm sorry. He should. I think he should go to his GP and get a reference to a neurologist and get that checked out.
I would say...
I mean this in the most compassionate, helpful manner.
I know. I would say that it's like you're doing something, but you're not paying attention. Like, oh, I got to do the dishes, and you're not drying them properly, or you just don't care. Like, that's when I see this, I see, okay, he's distracted, or he's just not having fun. So he's just trying to get through it because he has to play half an hour to do his review for legal reasons or whatever. Like, I don't know. So I look at this and say, yep, this is just something he's not into. And that's totally fine. He does do a lot of work. He writes multiple articles a day for his job, so he's probably very busy. So I can totally understand him not liking something and just trying to go through it as best he can. And yes, you and I and everyone else on the panel knows this is not a very good game playthrough. So, like, he's making mistakes, like he's jumping on the things like they're Mario or something. It's like, this is not right.
Yeah, after the tutorial.
I
but
know.
even then, he's just flipping left and right, and it's very spastic is the wrong word. Spasmic? I don't know. It is completely uncoordinated.
That's what I was going to say. Uncoordinated.
All right, here's Kyle Rocket. Thank you. Woke gamers and journalists just don't like when games make you think. And by think, it's not necessarily some complicated philosophical ideas, but tactically, how to react and understand in an action game, for example. So no Batman, no Bayonetta, no Devil May Cry, Tomb Raider, Ninja Gaiden, and Splinter Cell.
No Sonic.
Oh, they're dead if they get their hands on those games. Yeah, because these are hardcore games.
No Sonic, no StarCraft 1 campaign, which is really easy, by the way.
Yeah, forget anything related to RTS. Yeah, forget.
Yeah. I don't think these people have the mental capacity to play anything that is not a match-free game, and maybe even that.
Solitaire.
So I wonder. Yeah. Like, the only thing my mother was playing was Solitaire and Mahjong, and just the Mahjong single-player mode where you just look for pairs. What was I gonna say? Right. So if Dean Takahashi writes articles, 4 articles every day, I honestly wonder about what, because I question his ability to even play anything. But even if he has a genre that he can play, then why does he not, or what I would hope, would he just stick to that one genre?
Well, this is the
because that's what game journalists in the 90s and 2000s did.
This is
when there were actual video game magazines. You had your what's the Redaktion in English?
You got Nintendo Power. Nowadays we have Game Informer.
Yeah, you have your bunch of game journalists, your game journalist company that makes its PC game magazine or console game magazine, and you have this guy that specializes in sports games, that guy specializes in RTS, that guy specializes in shooters, and so on. You don't have everyone play everything, because that just doesn't work, because some genre you just never like.
It depends, because
and you're not good at it.
We generally assume people who review games are experts or very good or well versed in the genre or the game itself. That's the assumption. So when we see this, we think, okay, how did this guy get this job? Or is he like one of like 4 other guys and they just randomly give him games and he just plays a game he doesn't like?
That would be a bad organizational structure.
Yes,
because
however, when he did do the review, or actually no, whenever he did his preview of Cuphead, he didn't do the actual review. He was fair. He was like, yeah, I suck at this thing, but he's smart enough and objective enough to say, look at all these things that are good about it, and people will love, even though I don't, or I'm not capable of appreciating. Like that to me is good. Even if you suck, I could play a game like Dark Souls and absolutely suck at it, probably, and go, yeah, but you know what? There's all this detail, this huge world to explore, all these monsters, all these items. That's cool. So
that sounds like my relationship.
I will
with
give him.
too.
I will give him that
a lot, but I still love it.
Yeah, I will give him that. In the end, he did come around.
Yeah,
and show that, because that is a rare thing for
his professionalism is there. So that's what I can say. Even if he sucks at it, even if he doesn't finish it, even if he doesn't get past the first level, he understands the elements because he's been doing it for so long. And that's all I really want. I don't need a master. I don't need like the best StarCraft player to tell me what StarCraft's about. I want an objective guy, and I think he does a good job. So.
Oh no! I am the customer. I am reading a games magazine, let's say, and I read an article about a game, and there's one article about the game, because there are not 5 articles about the game. I expect it to be written competently by someone who understands what makes the genre and how this game is a good. Fits well into this genre or makes something new within the genre. Someone who's just randomly playing that won't be able to give me that, because it's like someone random from the street being shown a video game and then gives, the things move on the screen.
Well, I think Gingaben made a good example of comparing Alpha Omega Sin to Razor Fist, because Razor Fist has some really good insight in general to politics and gaming, but sometimes his takes are too biased. They're too lopsided. And you sit there going, you know what, Batman's perfectly fine. Why do you keep bashing him Batman? Because you're talking about, was it the Spectre or the Shadow? I can't remember. He's always comparing it to the two. And it's like, dude, we get it. You don't like Batman, okay? Lots of people do for specific reasons, and we know what those reasons are. So like, it's stuff like that. It's like, dude, just tone it down a bit, and give us the facts and why. Because as much as I would appreciate like the master side scroller expert talk about how Cuphead compares to Mega Man or Mega Man 8 or whatever, sometimes it's nice to have a guy who's fish out of water and goes, I don't know, this is not for me, but it has all the elements that he could break apart. And sometimes I like to read those kinds of reviews because it gives you a new perspective, which is kind of the outsider looking in. And maybe that's for me. Maybe I could jump into Cuphead. I don't know yet. I haven't tried. So
you should. It's very fun.
You could make a section in your video game review magazine thing, website, whatever. That is exactly from the outside looking in. Someone who doesn't know a genre and plays something from that genre, or doesn't like that genre and plays that genre.
I think that would be cool because, first of all, if you're an analytic mind, you could do it. It's not hard. And secondly, it's like, oh, this is beautiful. I've never seen this before. This is how I react to it, the same way someone who's never seen a genre or a video game of that style, like Triangle Strategy, that just came out a week or two ago, and not knowing what Final Fantasy Tactics or Tactics Ogre is, say, oh, well, this is amazing. It's like, well, look at these games from yesteryear. What do you think? And their minds will be blown because they've never experienced something like that before.
The difference and why that would be cool is because it has a component of honesty with it, stating outright openly, with big letters at the top, this is the section where our journalists play games from genres that they usually don't and maybe even not like. And here's their opinions on games that they don't like to play. Well, however good they may be.
Yeah, I know. That'd be tough, though, because there's all kinds of genres we've never touched. Like, I haven't touched anything for kids. I haven't touched anything for ladies, like casual games. I don't know much about the mobile market very well. I don't know. Like, that would be hard.
You would torture me with racing games.
Oh, yeah? Racing. Oh, Gran Turismo. Yeah, there we go. Popular title.
Okay, driving in a long circle. Okay.
They're making a left turn.
Oh, well, how fun. The racing games that work for me are the fun races where you have stupid power-ups that you throw at each other's heads, or at least some plasma cannon on your F-Zero thing.
Like stuff like Mario Kart, Team Sonic Racing, Crash Team Racing, Diddy Kong, F-Zero.
Diddy Kong was the best.
So basically the novel...
Best fun racer ever made.
Death Race 2000 movie... the Saturday, what the hell is it? Oh, it's a beautiful short story by the guy who wrote A Boy and His Dog, or A Man and His Dog, about this futuristic world where your car is a weapon and you fight on the freeway with other cars. Anyway, I got to reread that short story novella. Anyway, that was a fun little aside. Let's get back to the video.
Now back to our story.
About it, posting the video online because it's funny that he's also not reviewing the game, by the way. He just previewed it for a bit at a games expo. A different journalist at VentureBeat wrote the actual review of Cuphead on the site, giving it a score of 85 out of 100 and saying, these days, beating a game sometimes doesn't feel like much of an actual achievement, but I was happy and proud when I killed the last boss in Cuphead. The fact that it was so hard made it so rewarding. And Dean Takahashi later posted a short video of him playing and beating the level that he had earlier struggled with, so well done to Dean for improving, I guess.
That level he struggled with, wasn't that the first level?
Yeah.
Well,
I do not
opening levels to Cuphead. 2 of the bosses and the actual running gun. Though if you're smart about it, you can skip one. You can skip it right ahead.
But honestly, I have until I see proof that he is playing it, I will not believe that he was able to beat the game, to beat the last boss. I cannot believe that.
I mean, he did eventually beat the first level. Progress.
Yeah, but it's walking from A to B. That's not beating a boss.
There is a mini boss in there.
Yeah. Okay.
Well.
All right.
Why is this all a thing? Earlier, lots of folks reacted rather poorly to some guy being bad at a video game. For example, air quotes journalist Ian Miles Prower Chong got some ants in his pants about the situation, saying, "Games journalists are incredibly bad at video games. It's painful to watch this. How do they think they're qualified to write about games? How can a paid professional games journalist be this bad at video games? Dean Takahashi spent 26 minutes playing the first level and never got past the starting area. I don't know how it's possible to rely on the recommendations of game journalists when they don't even have basic reflexes needed to play. It explains why they're all enamored with walking simulators, no skill necessary, just press W and the game will take care of itself, and so on and so forth."
Well, he's not wrong.
That is all completely justified critique. Because how can you expect that this is the point. When the games journalist it plays worse than a 5-year-old girl. A 5-year-old. How can I believe anything that guy says?
I still think it's a bit unfair to put Dean Takahashi in the same group as the people who review like Gone Home or these other adventure dialogue, find a note
Really?
game. I wouldn't put him in the same category. See, Dean is at least honest.
Yeah, but he would have less problems with that.
Well, yeah, but we know he knows he's not good at it. He's admitting to it, and he's going, you know what? Even though
After the flag came.
that's fine. I don't care when he figures it out. I don't care what it takes for him to learn. But he did learn, and that to me is beyond these people who think Gone Home is a masterpiece of gameplay or whatever. So I don't mind Dean sucking at a game. This doesn't really, I don't care. Okay, it's fun. It's funny. Obviously, gamers around the world look at that and go, okay, this is sad. But that's it.
No, I care whether the people writing the previews or reviews of games, they're telling me, the customer, not consumer, I say customer specifically, what they are like. And for that, they need to have an understanding on a modicum of the game.
No.
I'm lacking words here.
If you read
and that simply cannot be trusted when he has trouble getting through the first level.
That's fine. Look at his preview. Actually, read it and see if you think that's a fair review. Because
was it really written by him, or is that just text that he put together from what other people wrote so that he can save face?
I'm not going to speculate whether his name actually was in the computer at the time writing the article as he was logged in and someone else was doing it for him. I'm not going to
tell me
why
would I want to read an article like that in the first place?
Because the reviewer in question knows he's not good and he admits to that, and then he lists the things that are good about the game.
No, the problem is a level higher. Why does his manager, CEO or whatever even put him before that? Because that guy must be aware that this guy has a problem.
Okay, well, first off, this guy's been doing games journalism for a while. Now, he might have a few articles which are left-leaning or too silly for me to care about, but this is an actual review, a preview of a fairly well put together game, and he's being fair. And that's really all I ask for. It doesn't matter if the focus of your domain is gaming or tabletop gaming or movies or whatever. It doesn't really matter to me. As long as it's geared towards entertainment, so you're there to have fun. So let's listen to this guy who's been in entertainment for years and years and years. And he goes, hey, you know what? Horror movies aren't for me, but I looked at this horror movie. It's pretty gory. It's got some really cool sounds and jump scares, and the music's right on. Like, that's enough to me to say, okay, that's fair. He doesn't like it, but he knows quality when he sees it. So if he can identify...
But should he be on the side of the... If let's say this is Rotten Tomatoes, should he then be on the side of the professional critics, or should he be on the side of the audience critics?
He would be professional. That's his job.
Should he be on the side of the professional critics?
I don't...
For that
Sure,
thing?
Why not? Yeah, maybe the professional
What
critic...
makes you a professional critic?
Because he gets paid to do it. That's his job. I've listened to professional critics on movies who were movie critics who review every genre of just because it's at the box office. He goes to watch it. I have a very famous one in Toronto whose name escapes me because I don't pay attention to him all the time. It's been a while since I've watched TV where he's on in the mornings talking about latest releases, but he has such a keen insight into movies, even the ones he dislikes, that he knows well enough, okay, here's a love story. It's kind of hokey dokey. It's like 60s from here and there.
Yeah, okay. But it doesn't take much skill to watch a movie. It takes some skill to play a video game.
But
and
that's
here's
not...
my problem is between the ought and the is. The is you could, as you say correctly, a professional critic is someone who gets paid. Okay. What ought to be, in my eyes, is that the professional critic who gets paid also needs to pass a minimum threshold of quality in his abilities that are required for the job, for the medium that he is critiquing.
Let's give an example of a game you don't like. Gran Turismo 7 came out, I think, last week or this week. It had one day, I think it was on launch or the second day, 24 hours the servers were down, right? That's horrific. So no one could play the game. It had to be always online or whatever. When they come back on, if the journalist just says, this is a horrible game, I couldn't play it for a day, it's like, that doesn't tell me anything. That just tells me the service sucks. So I probably wouldn't buy it until they ironed out those bugs. If all they do is hamper about this one element, which is it's down and you can't play, then I don't care for this guy. I need to know stuff like how's the handling, how's the gameplay.
Yeah. And how can Dean Takahashi tell me about the handling of Cuphead? How could you tell me about the handling of Bayonetta compared to Bayonetta 2?
I don't know. That's up to him. That's up to the.
He doesn't have enough skill to even feel the difference.
No.
No, seriously, I'm sorry.
All right. Well, we already had this argument like 20 minutes ago. So anyway, here's JJJ Madness. Thank you again for the 5. Why you think games journalists' favorite games tends to be stuff like Life is Strange? Okay, I wouldn't say that's a games journalist thing or a professional review thing, because I've seen YouTubers and random people online who love Life is Strange. They like the stories, they like the characters, like the voice acting, all that jazz, right? They like the setting. There's something for them to like, to latch onto, even though the people with brains who play these games or who know adventure games or who know stories, we go, that's a goofy time slipping mechanic bullshit, and they're trying to make it into a what is like not even a romantic comedy. It's just this slice of life thing, which a girl Max goes around a town and tries not to kill people because of her powers. That's the premise of the scenario she's in. So why people like that, I don't know. There's lots of reasons why people like crap.
Because it's an interactive movie at best.
The women, there's girls in it. They're the main characters. They have quirky personalities. All kinds of dumb reasons, right?
Cringe-worthy personalities.
They'll latch on. Yeah, the dumb. What is it? It was from a French studio, so they have this weird way of talking. Helicash, or all these dumb terms from California. So I don't know. Why do people like this crap? They just do, and we can't quite wrap our brains around it. But I would love to hear someone's review of that, because I would like to have insight into their mindset. Usually it's dumb. Usually it's about, the languages you never heard of before. Here's a good representation of girls with blue hair talking about smoking and guns. It's like, okay, that's weird. Whatever. That's fine. I don't mind reading an article if that's what they get off on. That's their subjective take. Now we know where they're coming from, at least. Doesn't mean it's a good review or a critical review. But I think it's nice to know where they're coming from, because most of the time, these YouTubers, we have no idea where they're coming from. And their responses and rationale, we just sit back and go, how are you connecting A to B? You're just saying, I like flashy colors and blue hair girl is hot. That's all you're saying. It's not very helpful to the average critical gamer who wants to know why a game is good or bad.
Back in the day, when most of the people playing games right now weren't even born, like in the olden days, when we were still dragging internet on hard drives through the snow on little trolleys, because there was no actual internet, so we were just carrying our hard drives through town. Games journalists got review copies, because games journalism was in part, of course, advertising for that things were actually even out there. And that could also lead to the games journalists giving proper professional, not paid professional, but competency professional feedback to the games developers. And this is how we got StarCraft, for example. Why it was such an absolutely amazing game. Because the first time that Blizzard showed games journalists their new game, StarCraft, they complained that this is just Warcraft 2 with different colors and different units. It was the Warcraft 2 engine. It was butt ugly, and it was just uninspired. And Blizzard went home shamed. They felt ashamed and redid the game from scratch and built this completely new engine and made this absolute marvel that people play like mad to this day, at least in Korea. It is played more than StarCraft 2. Well, and yeah, that is how this profession should be, honestly.
there's lots of bad steps and weird marketing suggestions. Like BioWare, I can go on and on about how they marketed Dragon Age 2, Mass Effect 2, and why they worked and didn't. And they did some really stupid things, like having a competition of who could play get the furthest in the game within 24 hours, and you get a $50,000 prize. And this is like in the UK. They did tours, like eight-day tours in Europe, where they go around to towns that no one would ever hear about this game. They had Super Bowl ads. They bought a box at the Super Bowl. They got licensed music from not Nine Inch Nails, at least 2 bands for Dragon Age. The hell was his name? Some grunge guy. Like all these dumb things, and they're just generating hype. That's all it was, just to generate hype. And the one that worked out the most was Mass Effect 2, because they did the most hype. They spent so much money. They did so many videos. They did all these trailers. They rented out that Super Bowl for whatever reason. The Super Bowl thing worked. Whatever, America. It's just love the Super Bowl. So video games and Super Bowl. So there's all these ways to generate hype properly. And if you don't have at least $1 million budget, don't even bother. So it's the same deal with once you've established a brand, you don't have to do that anymore. But if you're just starting off, then you gotta ship out those bucks, get people interested in your product. So anyway, let's continue. Okay, I can't pronounce this name. Kyorgress Hideout, Kyo Gress Hideout. I was infinitely more skilled at video games when I was first introduced to video games with Super Mario Bros. 1 on NES when I was around 3 or 4 years old.
Oh, it's Kyogre. It's a Pokemon. Kyogre's Hideout.
Kyo, okay. Gotcha. That's a Pokemon. Good to know. See, you guys know your Pokemon. I don't know my Pokemon.
Yeah, Kyogre's Hideout. I was more skilled at video
Kyo,
games when I was introduced with Mario Bros. On the NES when I was 3 or 4 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I first played Mario Brothers on the... We didn't have an NES, but a friend of my brother had one.
Oh.
And one day he was supposed to watch me. So he took me to his friend from school who had an NES, parked me in front of it to play Mario Brothers, and then they went away. And I played Mario Brothers the entire day.
Cool.
And when I came back, they were surprised that I was in World 5.
Nice.
I never played through it, but I got pretty far, and I got confused when I accidentally ended in the warp zone. I remember that.
All right. Here's one from JJ Banis again. So basically, it's for hipsters. I don't know, because these people, you have to understand, this is a French company trying to make a game for Westerners trying to write dialogue for. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. So I don't know who that's for.
It is for hipsters.
Maybe
hipsters love Life is Strange.
Okay, here's
they see themselves reflected in that, and they think that is Californian culture, and it's
I know.
all so cool. And you have all these ugly characters with their ugly clothes, and it's like
here's
a stupid plot
here,
with these. Oh God, everything's horrible.
Here's a great chat from Sofa King Immature. The actual issue was that the writer originally wrote about how bad and broken the game was before release. Oh, this I didn't know. There we go. It changed after his gameplay was released, but the original URL told his intent. I'm going to go check the Wayback Machine and see if I can get that, because that'd be nice to know. But even then, I'm just glad he changed his tone, because that means he learned something.
I have a question. Would you consider friggin' the Stanley Parable a walking simulator?
In a way. The
Stanley Parable is a special kind of thing, because it is in itself a joke, a satire, and a mindfuck. It's not just it's not just here's a story I'm telling you. It plays mind games with you.
Yes, I think that's
I'd say it's like comparing your regular first-person shooter to Antichamber. Because Antichamber is not a first-person shooter; it's a puzzle shooter, if you will, but it is one that fucks with your mind, because it plays with your expectations. It makes you unlearn what you expect to happen in the game. Puzzles function differently from what you would expect, and then later in the game, it fucks with you again by working more like a normal game. But at that point, you are so used to how Antichamber works that you do things in the Antichamber way instead of the normal way, and then you get fucked over again in your head because you have to think in the opposite direction.
You see, that's an interesting genre for people to really connect
Zach and
with.
Wiki got it.
Like, I don't know if you guys have heard of Returnal. That's it's another bullet hell game where you die and you go back to the level you spawned at in this weird alien world you're a part of. And the whole story is about this concept of regression and what that means to the main character and her history, and how she could never escape this personal hell of this planet she landed on, trying to answer this distress signal. So it's amazing. Like, as a story, it's amazing. It's kind of scary. Like, if you pass the game, you'll see what I mean. How the ending just goes, oh my god, it hasn't ended yet. And you think it's over. There's a whole other game outside of it. So that will mess with your head. And I think there's a whole genre that people would love to play those kinds of games. All right. JS, thanks for the one. Maybe we should throw these people a curveball and design a game that has the plot of Gone Home or Depression Quest. Oh boy. But game mechanics and difficulty of NES Contra, so they can't progress beyond level 1.
Don't we already have a game like that? Isn't it called Celeste?
More or less.
Oh, yeah. It's a platformer.
Very good game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the mind fuck sort of genre is a very unique one. What was that? The one that came out a few years, actually more than a few years back. It was a side scroller, and you were the hero of your own story. But after you passed the game, the way it was told to you was the female or the princess or whatever was watching you just going around killing people or destroying things. What the hell was the name of that game? It was made by one guy. I remember that. It was such a popular...
Was it Braid, I think?
Braid.
I don't know.
You got it. It was Braid. That was another huge twist ending.
Yeah, that's the one where you, if you actually I think at the end of the game, if you actually manage to cross paths with her, it's like some kind of analogy for the atom bomb or something. That's what people said.
Oh, really?
Or something. And it's like that's that kind of like crackpot theory that people had with those kinds of things that give you next to nothing to work with, and some people just ran with that.
Yeah, I think there's a whole understanding or appreciation of that kind of experience, that you were the villain all along, or the big twist causes your understanding of the setting to change completely. That sort of idea, people love that. Oh, I wasn't expecting that. And it makes you appreciate the game. Either makes you appreciate it a lot more or throw it out the door. I don't know. It's one of those two.
One way or the other, you're not going to forget it.
Yeah, I think that's very cool when you're talking about only video games giving you that kind of experience that no other media can. Here's Vladimir Dragunov for the 10. Thank you, sir. Was this the Shaun that argued that the A-bombs were dropped on Japan solely because racism and completely ignored the Allies had a German first policy?
I don't know.
Is this the guy?
I've never watched this channel, so I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
Me neither.
Such a thing.
Yeah, we have no idea.
Wasn't this stream originally about Cuphead?
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, that's the kind
About
of like
Cuphead and about Shaun.
yeah.
This happens a lot.
Yeah.
That's part of the whole. That's part of the fun here on this podcast.
We get a bit bored or lost or sometimes angry, and we just go, okay, yeah, we can't go on anymore.
Yeah.
Need to compensate for happy things. Anyway, let's keep going.
So that's quite the extrapolation there. Dean Takahashi, the singular person being bad at Cuphead for a bit at a games expo, is now all games journalists being terrible at all games all the time and engaging in some conspiracy to promote walking simulators or something. All this despite Takahashi's preview of the game and the later actual review on the site both praising Cuphead's difficulty. Chong's take was popular, though, with more than 12,000 people sharing its tweet mocking Takahashi's gameplay and detached theorizing about walking simulators. And so begins the curse of
not
the
mocking.
numbers. The
It's
VentureBeat
what the
video
fuck is
received over
happening.
1 million views. PewDiePie put out a video where he reacts rather obnoxiously to that video, which has over 6 million views at the time of writing this, and another one that has over 4 million. Some channel called Rags put out the Cuphead Chronicles Gamers versus
Some channel. At the you say this was made 4 years ago, this video?
2017, yeah.
Shaun only had a couple thousand viewers at the time, and Rags was already pretty big. So some channel called Rag. Oh god, this disingenuous fuckhead.
I haven't heard of that channel either.
No, Rags doesn't make a lot of videos anymore since he's mainly on EFAB. I think he started a game review thing together with the Quartering.
Really?
But I never followed of what came of that. Maybe he's doing something that I don't know.
I haven't paid attention yet. I don't know. Okay.
Analysts mocking Takahashi's gameplay to a couple of 100,000 viewers. So Cuphead is the hot topic to argue about, so we keep talking about it until it doesn't get us attention anymore.
But I don't want to go to
That's
Hot
how
Topic
YouTube
today.
works, folks. And not to skip ahead too much, but if nobody is actually saying anything worthwhile creating a ranty response to, for example, if nobody is calling Cuphead racist, you can just pretend they are, and your audience will believe.
No. Yes, I did that repeatedly because of the Fleischer animation style. Because allegedly Fleischer was racist, which, from what I remember, is a stretch. But I
And
can't.
then there's
tell you the
Disney,
details
which was
anymore,
actually
but it's as much. It's
confirmed.
much. What?
And then there was Disney, like he actually confirmations that he was racist.
Disney?
Yeah,
No,
Walt
that was
Disney.
Walt.
I thought that was communist propaganda about him, where they called him a anti-Semite or something. One of those things, and it
I don't
turned
know
out that
about
was
anti-Semite,
that
but
was
You look at the
complete.
crows from Dumbo, that part of Song of the South.
I
Yeah,
am not
those
a German
those
version
are
of
those are the
movies, so I
confirmed
can't tell.
instances. Yeah, those are the confirmed instances for the Disney cartoons. But it's like they weren't. But Disney wasn't leaning all that hard in that direction either. Even though there is just enough of it to make an argument.
Yeah.
So if you mean Walt Disney the person?
Yes.
Yes.
There was a defamation campaign by the communists against Walt Disney because he was calling out the communism in Hollywood. So they went cancel campaign against Walt Disney. And that's where these allegations about Walt Disney is evil, Walt Disney is a fascist, Walt Disney is racist, Walt Disney is this and that comes from. Because that is their modus operandi, and it's been for over 100 years.
Well, now the topic is on those eras. Here's one from Vladimir Dragunov. Thank you, sir. And this is back to World War II, because the only reason some German city wasn't erased was because Germany surrendered before there was a chance. So you're saying because Germany surrendered, the bomb was dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Yes. That is more along the official line, because the Allies were a bit sad they couldn't try out their new toy.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. And there's various ways you can read what really happened. That's a very deep topic to delve into. I don't want to summarize that because there are too many nuances to all sides.
Yeah, let's
what
not.
people agree on, the thing that most people agree on is that the second bomb, Nagasaki, was not necessary and done for research purposes. That seems to be rather official.
Okay. Yeah, I don't like speculating on all this stuff. Yes, it's a whole topic and not the point of this stream, so not saying it's not a bad thing to talk about, but let's just focus on the wonders of Cuphead in this video.
Yeah, and,
Yep.
Despite one thing about the German city, it was Berlin. And looking at Berlin today, I kind of wonder whether that would not have been a good thing.
Oh boy.
Look, Berlin today is like California. That's not somewhere you want to be.
Okay.
Yeesh.
Let's not
Green Flag
speculate.
One,
Let's not guess that was a good idea or a bad idea. Anyway.
Yeah, well, that's it. Let's move on.
Let's get back on track. So on October, article on a site called Super Nerdland, written by Twitter user Cheeky Scrump, and that's called Postmortem: The Dark Souls of Games.
He has all the guys. He has all the NTSJW guys. Scrump's interesting, but yeah. Sorry, I just found this funny that he's just going through the usual suspects.
I also noticed it's all on Twitter. It's all just a bunch of Twitter users saying stuff. It's like, yeah, games journalism, Twitter.
Yeah. On that note, Scrump does a wonderful series on democratization of the last century on his channel with a buddy of mine. So if you're interested in a bit of history, politics, philosophy, go check it out. It's annoyingly horrible.
Okay.
Games review. And when Cheeky Scrump posted this article to Twitter, they are so dead set on attacking difficult games because it benefits them. But is it true that games journalists are dead set on attacking difficult games like Cuphead? Well, I don't know about that, to be honest. Cuphead has an 88 on Metacritic for a start. It got 5 stars on Giant Bomb, 8.5 on Polygon, 8 out of 10 on GameSpot, and so on. And all these reviews praise the difficulty level. Games journalists love Cuphead and its difficulty, going by what they actually, say about it. So who are the games journalists who are apparently dead set on attacking difficult games? Who are they? Are they more of these people? Well, let's read this article by Cheeky Scrump and see if we can find out. And I quote, "Most recently, Cuphead, the much-hyped run-and-gun platformer with a Golden Age-era cartoon aesthetic, was described as somewhere between Mario and Dark Souls by now infamous games journalist Dean Takahashi. Cuphead and its like have created unexpected controversies about whether or not games journalists should have basic ability when it comes to playing games. The long and short of it is that Cuphead has become a jumping-off point for a full-scale attack on difficult and exclusionary games by the gaming press. As the argument goes, games that are difficult rob lesser..."
What part of that did he read? Because I couldn't follow. Did he read the actual text on the screen?
You want to go back?
Yeah.
Become a jumping off point for a full-scale attack on difficult and exclusionary games by the gaming press.
He only read the last part. Again, left out the other. Why do you keep the other stuff on the screen when you are not reading it?
So what he left out is just like a Tetris block of text.
He says, "I've discussed them at length previously on 2 separate occasions on my series with Short Fat Otaku, so I won't be going into the full story here." Okay, you could say that, Shaun, that he, or at least to drop a few words, because there are people who are just listening to you probably, and then you're leaving out that Scrump went into far more detail at some place else, and you are ranting about his TLDR, let's say. That's disingenuous. Because in his TLDR, he's likely not going into as much detail as in his at length previously 2 separate occasions. Bloody hell.
All right.
If you wanted to critique what he's writing, you should have gone into those in-depth things. Not this one. Would be my guess. It's what I would do.
Games that are difficult rob lesser skilled players of the chance to complete them, therefore making them exclusionary. Now, if we click on that link there, we're taken to a Polygon article written by Ben Kuchera entitled, "When is exclusion a valid design choice?" So, is this it? Have we found it, finally? Is this the full-scale attack by games journalists dead set on attacking difficult games?
Kotaku writes such things, and Polygon writes such things all the time. They complain about this all the time. They complain about racism in games all the time. When there's not enough hairstyles for black people, they complain about sexism in games when the girls look too pretty and have a little too little clothes on, and the boobs exceed an A cup.
Yeah, Polygon,
it's the constant.
Kotaku, all these sites, they're pretty much the same. We don't really...
Yeah, and I don't remember which one it was, but they admitted that they are not primarily there for video game reviews to inform the customers, but to push social justice.
games? No. Cheeky Scrump this Polygon article in a way that, in my opinion, perfectly illustrates how a lot of people online simply don't know how to read properly. So let's take a look at this Polygon article and how it's written. It starts out with the headline, which is a question: when is exclusion a valid design choice? And it proposes another in its first paragraph. Are you owed the act of finishing a game because...
No. You're leaving out everything again. Why do you keep all this text on the screen when you only give us this little bit? So Cuphead is a very challenging game in ways one can argue are both good and bad. But let's put that aside for a moment and ask another serious question that's at the heart of the rather nasty conversation that has sprouted up again due to the game's difficulty. Okay, you could have just cut all the text out. Are you owed the act of finishing a game because you bought it? No.
What the hell does that even mean?
Most players don't finish their games.
Yeah, why?
Never did.
Why would that even be a... Like, think about it. I buy a game. I could launch that thing off my roof because I feel like it. So why would I be owed the act of finishing a game because I bought? What logic is that?
I think that sounds a bit like a straw man there.
Well, yeah, if I buy a puzzle, it's like, aren't I owed the right to finish the puzzle because I bought it? It's like, well, if I can't figure out the jigsaw, then no, I'm a moron, or I don't have the time to do it.
I'll throw it at my neighbors if I want to.
Yeah.
The truth. Okay. Who here in the room has games that you really like? Not just that you bought and didn't finish, but do you have games that you like that you didn't finish?
Yes.
Yes.
Smart.
Well, I would say yes, but I just actually passed it the way I wanted to a week and a bit ago. So, I'm trying to think.
Well, in your life, in your long life,
there were games I did like that I did not finish. Yes.
Okay. Do you want to give examples? Start from the left, Alex.
I go Dreamer. Participation trophies for everyone. Yay!
At least one each.
Well, the participation trophy we get from actually just playing the game and having fun with them. That is the participation trophy every game gives us. The fun of playing it.
Unless you're playing Sticker Star.
What game didn't you finish, Alex, that you like?
And I like putting together collages of games I finished within a year. So far, I'm trying to finish Rayman Legends, Mega Man X, Pikmin 3, Munch's Odyssey. I have a problem with a backlog.
Yeah, that's cool.
Well, that's the entire point of the term backlog in the first place, isn't it?
Yeah.
Kingaman?
The tie between for me, I can at least say it's a tie between Hollow Knight, Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night, and Assassin's Creed 4. Right now, at least.
Ooh, that's tough. That's big ones.
Yes.
Smart.
I don't remember the name, but the reason why I didn't pass it was I got frustrated. It was a South Korean turn-based tactical game on Steam. And
because I rage quit.
Yeah, I did.
No. Okay, no, I'm kidding.
No,
keep going.
I was pretty much frustrated with the game so much because of its mechanics, and I just uninstalled it. And I liked the game. I liked the story. I liked some of the game mechanics, but there were just some I just couldn't take anymore. And the way they did a level design where you had to like beat this guy, and his dodge was like 90% or some bullshit, and I'm like, oh wait, no. There was another game as well. Another holy shit, maybe it's the South Koreans are driving me nuts. It was another South Korean turn-based game, really good voice acting, really good, like everything was high quality except this one level where you're 2 against 30 and you're the tank and this chick is like a sniper. And I put it down to normal difficulty. I still couldn't beat it. I was like, okay, this is fucking retarded. Oh, it's a great game, but it just drove me nuts. So, oh, geez, what the hell? Great, beautiful game, very high rated. Damn it, why do I keep forgetting? See, this is what I do. Every bad experience, I just remove it from my memory. And I just never speak of it ever again. I've been trying to think of it. It was like an urban, tactical JRPG style, like, Final Fantasy Tactics, but everyone has guns, and it was like XCOM 2, but with less guns. So, yeah. You had Esper powers or something. Great game, except for that level.
Yeah, cool. So games I haven't finished yet that I really like, and some of those may shock you. Number 1, Okami. I never got around to it, and it always came out on the first one I gifted away. The Wii one was unplayable, and after that I only bought. I finally got one in a Steam sale, but didn't find the time yet. Deserts of Karak, because I always fell out of the game. Baldur's Gate 2. I never finished Baldur's Gate 2 because I'm sick of it's like reading a long book series. Like, you get to the middle of the game somewhere, and then you don't have time for the game anymore, and then I want to finish this game, so I restarted. And I think I have done the beginning of the game at least 20 times. I can't see it anymore. I want to finish Nier at some point. I only did the start of the game, then something happened. I fell out of the game, haven't touched it since. Oboro Muramasa is still to be finished at some point. I was last stuck at the Flying Buddha boss, I think. And oh god, yeah, at some point, just to get it out of my head, Hyperdimension Neptunia.
Oh, that's a game I really want to play.
Really?
It's so dumb. It is so dumb, but it has some interesting ideas. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. Phantom Breaker Battlegrounds. I have not played Assault Android Cactus with all characters yet. I only consider it finished once I've done that. I don't need an S+ ranking on everything, but at least I want to have played it with every character. And so on and so on. There are tons of games I never finished or don't consider having finished. Bayonetta 2, I have not finished in the sense that I have not gotten to the highest difficulty and beaten that. I've beaten it on normal, but it's a Bayonetta game, so the real game is at the highest difficulty. Everything before that is just training for that.
Devil May Cry as well.
I'm actually gonna have to hop off. I need to do something with my family, but before I do, is it okay if I link my stuff in the chat?
Yeah, go right ahead. No problem.
Okay.
If it doesn't work, just tell me. I'll put it in for you.
Yeah. Oh,
okay.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
No problem. Also, do you have any questions? I will be on my phone at the restaurant.
Okay. No problem. Thanks, Alex.
Through me.
Yeah. And in the chat, JJ Madness, our new member, asks me, you couldn't beat Okami? It's not that I couldn't beat it. It's that I never found time to do it.
Yes, that's the problem. I
never found the time to play on with it, so I would now have to restart again. I got to after Pestilence that you beat inside the Emperor's belly, and after that I just didn't continue to play. That's all. I didn't have the time. Like, I was moving then. I didn't have access to the game anymore. And then I had to, then I thought, hey, it's come out on the Wii. I have a Wii. Let's do that. And the control port was just so atrocious. It is one of the 2 games in existence that managed to make me so angry I wanted to throw the controller. And that is I have never felt that ever before. And that's when I put it down and said, like, this can't be right. If a game does this to me, something's wrong. Because that doesn't happen to me. That never happened to me. Never as a child. I was frustrated or went on or took a break or something, or was sad that I couldn't continue, that I failed. But never ever has a game made me so angry that I was about to throw the controller. And the only other one that did that was, what was it called? Star Fox Zero? Was it that? The Wii U one?
Yes, Star Fox Zero.
Yeah, that completely overloaded me to the point where I was about to break the Wii U pad.
Well, hopefully,
I need to put this away. It was the first time that I decided actively decided I will not finish this game. I cannot deal with these controls. On the big screen, I couldn't aim because it was linked to the small screen on the pad, and with which you have to accurately aim. And the whole switch from first person here to sometimes third person on the screen, it overloaded me. Maybe it's an autism thing there at that point, but that was too much, and I was sad because the levels were too short.
Well, I do recommend.
This was supposed to be a remake of Star Fox 64 in a way, but I thought it was weak in that regard.
I do
had some nice ideas, but I'm getting trailed off because I'm getting emotional. Sorry.
I do recommend finishing off Shadows of Om in Baldur's Gate 2.
Yes.
One of the better villains in video games that I can recall, Irenicus. So
yes. Oh, the German version had some sound issues, especially in the first dungeon, that where some of the voice lines are too loud, like of the golems that you meet that make just this sound. And in Germany, in the German version, that's like on triple volume. And also you play through the game and suddenly it's this and way too long, way too drawn out. So I don't want to go through that.
All right. Well,
it's a
recommended.
One day.
All right. Okay.
Just like Planescape Torment. Same deal.
Really? The sound?
Yeah, got stuck at points, got frustrated, had to move, fell out of the game, and then didn't feel like restarting the game.
Oh, really?
Starting from the beginning.
That is my my favorite RPG. It's just everything about it.
Everyone should play it.
Yeah.
It's one of the best written RPGs ever made.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's my favorite PC RPG, but my favorite RPG in general. Boy. Okay, let's keep going. Alex Halo. Hey, Alex. If you are bad and want to see this story, go on YouTube. What? Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, if you suck at reviewing a video game or you're a journalist, just go on YouTube. Watch someone else go through the Let's Play. Yeah.
I would never, if I had been Dean Takahashi, I would never have allowed to put that footage on.
Fun stuff. If you're frustrated and you're a journalist and you talk about your frustration on a game for sucking at the game, that's a bad look. Luckily, he learned his lesson. But, you should probably never... You know how you say, like, you have to be careful when you say negative things. It has to be done in a constructive manner so as not to, come back at you because you are the fault of your own frustrations, as opposed to just playing the game like anyone else would and going, oh, yeah, this is hard. It's not for me or whatever.
Yeah, look, this is the weird thing. I can't play bullet hells, maybe because it's single focus, but I couldn't play Star Fox Zero.
Well,
and I think that's because there's too many things to keep track of at the same time.
If you can do
that are not on the same screen even, and this is why I have to sadly admit I don't have a driver's license, because I never got through that phase in learning to drive. There's too many things to keep track of, like this mirror, that mirror looking behind me, and then there's other things going. It's too much.
If you could play Ikaruga or any of those bullet hells, driving is no big deal.
No, it's not the same. It works differently in the brain.
Okay, all right. Just saying.
Driving, look, smart. Driving on the street is not a bullet hell.
No, it's not, exactly.
Run and gun at most.
Jesus.
And even then.
Like, I'm imagining there's like some gangbangers in your village or something. They have like Uzis. It's like, yeah, driving in the street is not like getting shot at. That's right.
some GTA shit.
Yeah.
I mean, it has a tiny bit of similarity with a bullet hell, and that your hitbox shouldn't hit the other hitboxes.
Oh,
yes,
geez.
That's kind of where it ends.
Okay, let's keep going here.
Now, this article is an attempt to answer those. As an example, it at one point states, the difficulty will turn some people off, and those people never get to see that art. They will never get to enjoy those animations. The design of the game itself...
Yes, they do. It's called Let's Play. We didn't have that back in the day. We have it now. Did I get through Pitfall when I got it gifted from my brother? No. I had trouble at, I think, the third level or something. I think that was the first boss, or I don't remember. Oh no, the first boss was right after the first level. I think at the end, the big jaguar with the spikes on it. But it's such a great game that I kept coming back to it time and again. Same with the Indiana Jones game for the Super Nintendo, which was playing through the big three movies, and that had a decent difficulty. And it took me forever to beat it. And that's the point. The people today seem to want to play through a game within a week. When as a kid, I had these games, I got a new game, I spent months with just one. For one, because I was only able to play outside of school, between that and homework and going to bed. And maybe a little longer on the weekend if I wasn't watching Saturday morning cartoons. The people today, they want to get through the game in like one rush, one go. And I can understand that kind of thing if you are, I don't know, unemployed or something, or a games journalist. Like you want to get through the whole thing or something to have be over with it, but that's not real enjoyment. I want the game to last as long as possible and to enjoy it. That's why my first playthrough with anything is very leisurely. My first playthrough with Breath of the Wild, what was that? 120 hours, something. It was somewhere around how long I took for Xenoblade Chronicles 2 the first time. Because I played through it leisurely. I enjoyed everything. Took my time. I wasn't speedrunning through it. And I saw way more than other players did. I ended Breath of the Wild with, I think, 52% or something. First time. There's a bit completion thingy. And then I was shocked at how many Koroks are there? Are you fucking kidding me? I found over 300 of those fuckers. Or even 400, I don't know. It was a lot, and it was what? I haven't even gotten half of them. Where did I miss them? They were everywhere. I'm getting sidetracked. Thing is, video games are not made to be binge watched, binge played. Like people now do on Netflix. Oh, there's a series I never watched. Now I'm gonna binge watch all of TNG in a week. That gets stale fast, man.
Well, there is the wonderful option of saving your game and coming back to it. So there's nothing wrong with...
You need self-control. You need self-discipline.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes you want to just keep playing games. You love it so much. It's so good. But sometimes you just want to get through something just to get it over with. To say, I've done it. I've finished it. I wanted the full ending. I wanted to get the 200% completion rate or whatever the case may be. It's like a challenge.
I have that autistic hate relationship with Hyrule Warriors.
Really? That
I hate it. I want it to be over with. There's still so much more content. Please be over, please. It's so repetitive.
Yeah. Okay.
That game should not have gotten a Nintendo seal of quality.
Oh, really?
It's way too first off, it's way too unstable for that.
Huh. All right. Well, let's keep on going.
Health keeps them out, when the addition of an easy mode or option to skip the bosses would allow everyone to see as much or as little as they want. So why are so many people against this idea? And following that, it offers an opposing argument. And yet the difficulty is part of the experience of playing Cuphead. Difficult games create an emotional reaction in the player, and that reaction might be the point of the difficulty. So if a game is designed to be played in a very particular way, and Cuphead asks you to treat failure as a chance to learn and rewards repetition and memorization, aren't you subverting those goals by asking for a mode that removes that method of play? I hope you're able to see my point here. This article is discussing something. It proposes a question, then shows multiple viewpoints and presents arguments for each. This article isn't attacking Cuphead or difficult games in general.
Did you cherry pick that article from all the others that were arguing it was too hard, and then to this day we get articles that say this game needs an easy mode, that game needs an easy mode? We had that with Sekiro. We have that now again with Elden Ring. And with Sekiro, we had the opposite happen that we saw with Cuphead.
Well,
So with Cuphead, we saw the two things. We saw Dean Takahashi and the 5-year-old girl beating the tutorial faster than he. And with Sekiro, we saw the paraplegic guy beat the game. The one with a physical disability. He was able to beat Sekiro.
well, in this article, I don't like how they try to have their cake and eat it too, saying they raise the question, why can't you have difficulty? And they say, well, maybe that's the point. Like, they're not actually taking a stance. They're just asking questions like, hey, doesn't it make sense to have an easy mode because everyone therefore gets to play? And they say, well, maybe the difficulty is supposed to be hard so you have that emotional reaction. Maybe that's the point. They're not actually taking a stance. They're just raising the question, which is like, I don't need to have a philosophical moment with the game design, okay? Tell me, is the game good because it's hard and it's only for people who like that style of game? That's fine. That's all you need to do. You should never have to, say, I'm going to be for game journos who like story mode, or I'm going to be for hardcore players who like hard mode, and I'm going to be for the casual players who like middle of the road mode. Like, you're just writing an article and just raising questions. That's not journalism. You're just going, what do you think about A? How about B? And then you just go down the list of all the issues that the game has aroused in the past few weeks. I don't like this style of essaying because you're not answering a question. You're not saying why something is the way it should be a way. It's kind of like saying, well, circles for wheels on cars is pretty effective, but what's wrong with octagons? Have we tried octagons on our cars? They look totally fine. I bet they roll. And you're like, yes, we haven't tried that yet. There's reasons why. Why don't you tell us why octagons are inferior or superior or whatever? Don't give me this middle of the road bullshit. Tell me why a game is good the way it is, not the way it could be. This is not good journalism. This is not good game analysis. I don't like this wishy-washy sort of opinion piece. It's kind of pointless.
It's just an issue related to them. So, well, you'd see the title, which has the word exclusion in it, and then you'd just smash that into your pre-existing idea of what games journalists want and think, and come to the conclusion that the point of the article was that Cuphead is ableist trash, and the developers should only make walking simulators about lesbians from now on. Obviously. It's silly, but it genuinely is how a lot of folks appear to read, seeing the headline and then just imagining the rest of the text.
Why do you think they write those titles? It's for clickbait. People who like clickbait titles with inclusion or exclusion or this or that buzzword want to read about that shit. The rest of us who don't read that shit go, yeah, this is shit. We're not going to bother with this clickbait title. Oh, wait, you're from Kotaku. No, I definitely don't want to read you. That's pretty safe. I think we've learned the ways of Kotaku over the years. We don't want to waste our time. Not to say all Kotaku articles are bad, because I think, was it Schreier was at Kotaku for years and years? So Jason did some decent jobs. It was a Polygon. I can't remember which one he was on. So he was one of the better, if not the best, journalists in gaming. He actually did some investigations. He talked to people behind the scenes as well as working at the studios. So that's fine. It's when you have articles where you try to be safe and don't have an opinion, or if your opinion is dumb and not based off the actual experience of the review or what have you, or bringing in your wonderful politics to a world that should not have it, like Cuphead. That's silly. That's not helping the person make a purchase or decision. It's just saying, look, here's some issues the game raises in a story, and you're like, okay, it's a shooter. Do I really need Samus Aran to be running around worrying about political trade routes between the pirates and the Chosen or all the other aliens in the story? It's like, I don't really think that's important to a Metroid game experience. That's just me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm glad Metroid is simple and clean and atmospheric and action or adventure. I like that. I don't want that to change. Why would you?
That didn't stop Jaffe from complaining.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the whole thing about it at the start of the game, the blocks that he couldn't shoot.
Yeah. Oh God, that guy. Yeah.
It's like the thing is that Metroid has always had game design like that. You have to be proactive. You have to find those kinds of like hidden pathways yourself.
Yeah, you rub against every wall, you shoot every wall, you spider ball into every crevice, you go everywhere you can. You use every opportunity to open up a pathway. That's Metroid game design. It's always been that way.
And the reward with that is that once you figure out where most things are, it's like the criteria for where something would be is narrowed down considerably. That's the reward for memorizing that kind of all that layout, all the level design in certain games.
Yeah, and the latest was Metroid Dread is the latest that did such a good job of giving you branching paths, but still never getting lost and never having to go back to a point because they all lead to the same checkpoint. So you can keep going.
Yeah, it leaves it up to the player like they should.
Yeah, I think that's complicated to do, and they pulled it off, which is amazing. So the focus is gameplay, level design, and allowing the player to explore and discover how to get from A to B. I think that's super difficult.
And it just worries me so much how they're going to handle Prime 4, especially after the development reset that happened a while back. It's like, because originally, I believe it originally was going to be developed within Nintendo, but then they realized, no, this is not going to be a good game, and then they got Retro Studios back for Prime 4.
Oh, they did?
Yeah,
Yes.
and they made a big Nintendo Direct, I think, especially for Metroid Prime 4.
Not a direct. They made it like a few minute short video, like telling everyone, development restarted under Retro.
Yeah, but it was specifically for Metroid.
Yeah, it got its own little like announcement that development was restarted.
It was that important for them to let the fans know where development is gonna take longer. We are resetting the thing, and
but they're trying
giving it to the people who know what the game needs to have.
Yeah,
it proves that they want to give us a good game, especially after Metroid it came back with a vengeance, like with Samus Returns, and then eventually with Dread. They want to keep that going because now they know there's definitely there's no doubt there's demand for Metroid now.
Yeah, and there was also a recent very big Nintendo survey with lots of free text for you to write into. So those poor people who have to work through that, because I've had to do that once, and if you have free text to work through, that's if they add free text boxes, that is in a survey, that is a big thing. That means they give a shit. And in that they also asked, well, what of the series of games have you played? What others that we didn't list did you love in your lifetime? And among other things, they also asked, you played Bayonetta. Are you interested in Bayonetta 3 still? They do want to know if there's still people interested in getting the bloody game they promised us, I don't know, 5 years ago.
Hey, to be fair, when Bayonetta 3 finally got a full trailer, everyone went nuts.
Great, I don't want to see it, I just want a game.
Yeah.
I don't want any. It's like I'm at the point where I do not want to see trailers. I just want to buy the game and be surprised. Because I've gotten addicted back to that after Xenoblade Chronicles 2, because I didn't know anything about the game, got to the end of chapter 3 and was dumbstruck, because that is how you make a character reveal. Anyway, I just read through this Polygon article, and the entire thing is a fig leaf. It is a, as we say in German, a Nebelkerze. Is that the right term here? It's saying, it's arguing in this wishy-washy manner, going back and forth between the points for difficulty, that has a special experience, but at large, it is constantly asking these questions. Should people really deprived of the experience and the full game? And when watching Game of Thrones, you can just skip to the end, and yes, that may diminish your experience of it, but maybe you just want to do that. Shouldn't you be able to do that for video games? The article constantly asks these questions because it is trying to establish these ideas in the audience to mellow you out. This is deliberately written in that way. Because nobody sane would make these points, not in this day and age.
Well,
not
yeah,
in
you would have an opinion and you try to justify it, and you'd say, well, you know what, there should be a difficulty setting in every game. And then this guy's going, well, I see the side of the other argument, but it's like, okay, but you don't think that way.
It's not just difficulty games. The article argues for, or asks for, in this pretend innocent, pretend Socratic fashion, about skip buttons for boss fights and other things like that. And I'm sorry, Shaun, that is disingenuous. This is the very article that argues for all the shit. It just does so in a pretentious, innocuous manner where the article can claim, but we're actually looking at both sides of the issue. No, you're not. You're inserting these very ideas because this is the narrative you want to push in the end, and that's what we see today all the time. This is we could say this is a timepiece. Like this is where it broke off hard.
Well, Polygon has never been, or even Kotaku has never been very good at being objective. So just raising questions to me is not an article. That's just, here's an issue. Here's all the questions. We don't know what to think. It's like, do you have a brain? Do you understand what Cuphead is? Have you played the game? Why does it work and why doesn't it work? You should be able to figure that out very quickly. And if you can't figure that out, ask someone online who has played it. Average player, doesn't have to be an expert, doesn't have to be a pro. Just say, hey, what's good about this game? What's bad about it? That's what we need. We need someone to tell us what's good and bad. It's very straightforward, I know. Very simple. A game like Cuphead shouldn't have to be that complicated to understand, to put down in print. Say, hey, here's the issues of Cuphead. There aren't any. It's a hard game. That's it. You either like it, you like the challenge, or you're not so good at it. It's not your thing. That's cool too. It should be that simple. I don't compare it to like other games of a different genre because that's silly. But other games of different genre, like turn-based or real-time with pause, D&D style games that I like playing, should have a difficulty level because there's so many variables. There's so many things going on. And some people just cannot, like they break under pressure. They don't know how to be a mage. They don't know how to be a thief or whatever the problem is. Mm-hmm. And there's so many options. They don't know what to do. So if you're going to give them so many options, you may as well give them difficulty options because that's like, decrease damage, decrease health of enemies, basic stuff that you can do no problem. So some games it works. Some games you shouldn't do that. And I think Elden Ring is a perfect example. It's extremely popular. It's one difficulty level. In fact, there is no difficulty setting. And people love it. And if you don't, it's not for you. No problem. Don't play it. It's broken sales records. It's doing totally fine. There'll probably be a hell of a lot more, hopefully, as I think From Software is doing even fine without Elden Ring, but I'm glad they're keeping the genre alive.
Someone playing the headline guessing game, Number 12 posted the following tweet. Here come the attacks on Cuphead and how it's racist. And he shows pictures of two articles.
And how it is racist.
He doesn't link to them, obviously. He just shows
Bloody hell,
screenshots
you
of
can't
the
even
headlines,
read.
because after all, that's all you need. So then...
Shaun, that is what you just did. You did even worse. You pretended to show us content of the article, but you only cherry-picked the content and left out the stuff that actually speaks against your point in the very article you showed us. You disingenuous bastard.
Yeah, so that article was Cuphead and the racist specter of Fleischer animation. Talks about the history of the style, where it came from.
And he complains to us that it's just showing the headlines. he shows us where you can find them. You can look at the articles yourself, for fuck's sake. You know they exist now. That's what the screenshots are for. Are you complaining about the limitations of Twitter here?
Yeah, he didn't provide the links. It's like, so go find them yourself.
Man, I'd so much rather go back to 2010 when all we did was debunking and debating completely lunatic Christians, fundamentalist Christians who believe in absolutely esoteric magic. It made more sense conversing with them. It was more logical, it was more grounded in reality, and it was less dishonest than arguing with socialists. Let that sink in.
So the other one was from Kotaku. It's impossible to separate Cuphead from the era that inspired it. Oh my God. If that's not a clickbait title from Kotaku, good Lord. These are these sites. This is what they do. And he's like, oh no, they're completely objective. It's like, no. They're there for the clicks. That's it.
Cuphead is not just ableist, it's also racist, apparently. Now, the first article is from a site called Kotaku, and is entitled It's Impossible to Say.
Kotaku.
Okay, is this guy
It's Kotaku.
is this guy his accent, or he does not know how to pronounce Kotaku?
Both.
Because I know this is not a gaming channel, so maybe he has no idea what he's talking about, but
It's both. He said he's a perfect gamer in the beginning, don't you remember?
well, he likes Cuphead, but the channel's not a gaming channel, so I don't know. This is crazy.
Separate Cuphead from the era that inspired it, which is itself mainly just sharing the article in the second image, which is Cuphead and the racist spectre of Fleischer animation. I'm going to go with Fleischer. That's written by Youssef Cole from the website Unwinnable. And that's an interesting article, which I'll link in the description. I'd encourage you to take a look at it. But for now, of note here.
Why don't you also link the other articles? You want to be objective here and critique all this stuff. Why don't you link all those articles that you think are all in a completely different light than spelled out? Are you not committing the same crime that you accuse Ian Miles Chong with here?
Let me see here. He listed a few. I don't know if that's the same one. He has Alpha Omega Sins channel. He's got his contacts, and he has some sources. So 2 Venture Beats, 1 Kotaku, 1 Unwinnable, 1 Super Nerdland, and 1 Polygon. So I don't know what those are.
Okay.
Maybe he's doing it. I don't know.
Yeah, well, he should also say that in the video, because this sounds like he's just listing this one. Yeah,
but if he actually read it's an interesting article. Like, what is good about the article? Is it dumb? Is it saying Cuphead's racist because it's using the animation style? Like, what are you talking about?
What he's essentially telling us is, oh yes, these articles talk about the racist specter of Fleischer animation, but they don't. They're not actually telling us that Cuphead is racist. Because he's leaving that out. These articles bring up those connections in order to discredit the game. To discredit it all, to demonize it. That's why they bring it up in the first place. No sane games journalist would give a shit about this crap.
Yeah.
Only about, does it look good?
It's kind of like bringing up
Is it playable? How's the handling?
It's kind of like bringing up the German army but not mentioning where this takes place in, so they don't know the context of who the Germans are and who are they fighting, and is under the veil of the First or Third Reich or whatever. Like, you don't know. So it's like, yeah, it's kind of important to know these things.
No. I don't understand your connection here.
Like,
I don't need to know any racist specters of Fleischer animation. Like, it's just this animation style.
Yeah, I know.
Who the hell cares about any of this shit from 100 years ago? Does this do anything about the quality of this? Because by the same logic, we should never watch 300 because it is made it is largely inspired by the works of Leni Riefenstahl, who was made to make propaganda movies for the Nazis with this superhuman physique visualization.
All right, here is JJ.
And they made those articles, by the way.
I think
That is true.
I missed this 3 minutes ago. Here's JJ Madness. Thank you for the super chat. But Wisps, Shaun has to gaslight and lie about anti-SJWs. How else will he prove how much a good boy he is? Well, it would be nice if he gave a clear-cut opinion on these articles, which he says are not bad. It's like, here's the article about the racist specter of Fleischer animation. It's interesting. It's like, what? No. Tell me why it's bad. Tell me why it's good. What's the big deal? This is the whole thing about your video, is the hype surrounding fake outrage. Here's the article. You don't just say it's interesting. It's an information dump about the era when things were racist. It's like, okay, fine. Are they saying Cuphead is racist? Yes or no? That's all you got to do. That would really help your argument. Okay. Here's another Pokemon hideout. I can't pronounce. Kyogres? Kyogres?
And what, in the chat, or?
Yeah, it's the same. Well, I think he's in the chat, but it's also on the donation. Kyogres hideout.
Just say Kyogre.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think is it Kyogre? Kyogre. Kyogre.
I don't know. I never played that.
When I say
Pokemon.
Kyo, I mean Yippee Kyo. I kind of.
Was that black and white?
Yeah. Anyway, here's his donation. Xenoblade 2 did difficulty options perfectly, in my opinion, with the custom difficulty where you can either set the difficulty to impossibly high, above the bringer of chaos difficulty, brain dead low below easy, or literally anywhere in between. Everyone wins. Well,
yeah, but I think you got that only after you played through once. And the normal difficulty is totally fine. But Bringer of Chaos is absolute madness. It's great. It's you actually need to understand how the bloody game actually works, like an autistic Asian. And the custom setting in Xenoblade Chronicles 2 it's really great, because you get all these different sliders for all the different aspects of difficulty that you can change. I think it's like 6 sliders of different things. I don't remember because I didn't play around with them much. But it's cool. That is an interesting way to do difficulty. Like hit points of enemies, damage enemies do, likelihood of them going berserk and doing special abilities. You could slide that around. All of that stuff slide around.
Yeah, some games, side scrollers like Symphony of the Night, they create mechanics like items, like consumable items to buff you. But because gamers who are hardcore, like you'd have to be a hardcore gamer to keep playing the game, you get so strong in that game. You don't need buffs. You don't need immunities to poison or this or that, because you can equip items that make you heal from poison or heal from lightning. So these are like things that the designers like, we didn't think of the gamers not using these buffs because we had so many buffs, but they didn't use them. We didn't know why they weren't using them. It's like you made your game to turn Alucard into a god. You don't need
bring a Varda, anyone?
Yeah, you don't need +1 to strength or whatever for 2 minutes. It's like it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Oh, this is one enemy type, boss special monster type in Chronicles 2, especially in Torna they get obvious because there that's more or less an achievement to get all the special monsters. And they have this. I never figured all of this out properly because I didn't have to, because it kind of worked. But with them, you can't use your actual special abilities, or in their rage mode, they would go hyper berserk and just insta-nuke you if you did. So you need to carefully whittle them down until they get to that very specific phase, and then hope you have built up enough other stuff to just try to one-shot the bloody thing. And that is so annoying. There's probably some other way I haven't figured out that is super easy. I just haven't figured it out. And then so it's just still hyper tense, and I will never try those on Bringer of Chaos. Holy fuck.
Some guy in the chat is saying, have you played Examina? And I've never even heard of that. Is it an indie title, or is it... I have no idea. There's lots of games I've not heard of, so you're going to have to be a little more specific, but who knows? Okay.
It looks like a third-person Diablo-style thingy.
I like isometric games in general. I do love the real-time with pause style. I still play... I told you I passed the Wrath of the Righteous Pathfinder with the secret Ascension ending or whatever. So I'm pretty happy. I could stop playing. I'm good. But there's other mythic paths. So I just got the Lich mythic path. It's nuts. Like I didn't know all my team was evil. They're like, you're fine. Yeah, be a Lich. We don't mind. It's like, really? Okay. I'll turn my entire town into a bunch of skeletons. That's great. So.
Okay. What is this?
Yeah. So.
Examina is born as a prelude to Sui Generis, an ambitious open-world RPG that has been in development for blah, 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 Kickstarter, blah, blah, blah. Examina is a smaller yet complete game in its own right, dungeon crawler that takes place in Sui Generis underworld some 20 years prior to its events. Okay. Nope, never heard of it.
Yeah, couldn't tell you. Sui Generis SG. Okay, so maybe they have a whole franchise planned out. That's kind of cool. Good for them. There's so many games I don't know, especially on Steam.
It looks good. It looks really good.
Yeah. All right. 15 minutes in. We're halfway done. Woo, look out.
Oh, God.
Yeah, is that not actually called Cuphead racist? They say that it's a creation of an early 20th century animation style that was, at the time, frequently very racist. And they go,
oh, suddenly you can be nuanced. Isn't that interesting? Suddenly the details count. The question is, why even bring that up? Why even bring that up in the first place? Nobody cares about that.
And the implications and the...
Yeah, because they want to paint it as racist. They want to paint it as evil. Because it starts with, it's a high difficulty. Socialists want to get rid of anything meritocratic, which includes difficulty curves, so that everyone can enjoy the same thing. Everything needs to be the exact same.
It's not inclusive enough for the players who can't play because they suck.
Yeah. Well, it's basically the guy we covered on Sisyphus Experience who complained about Elden Ring and said that games that are not for everyone should not be made.
Really?
A game that can't be played by everyone, by absolutely everyone.
Quantum TV.
Yeah, that can't be played by absolutely everyone should not be made. That is the socialist, jealous mindset. This whole socialist thing that hates meritocracy is born from jealousy and envy.
Basically... Yeah,
someone's better than me that is not allowed.
Okay.
Yeah, so
that makes me feel bad.
My rebuttal to that guy is he wants what he wants is games that aren't for everyone shouldn't be made. What, 95 of the entire video game industry?
More like 99.
99.9999999.
Yeah, but it applied the same logic because that is what the core of all of this social justice, this equity shit is about. Imagine this about movies. A movie that can't be enjoyed by everyone, that includes 5-year-olds, should not be made. But on the other hand, that also means that easy games that cannot be enjoyed by people who want a challenge, then also should not be made because the people who enjoy a challenge or want a challenge in a game, they won't be able to play it because they'll just barf.
So
apply this to movies. Suddenly we can't watch movies. Apply this to food. So there are people who can't eat spicy food, so spicy food should not be made. Some people are allergic against peanuts. Peanuts should not be part of the nutritional table because some people can't enjoy peanuts. And so carbohydrates. So we should get rid of carbohydrates. Meat is evil, so we need to get rid of evil. So all we can eat now is fat.
There is an argument to be made for mainstream things and why they work as a popular product. So you could say, like Guinness, for example, right? Guinness is a very, very weak stout. We all know that. It's a 4.2% or something. The flavor is there. It's just not very strong. They have an extra stout, which even that is not very stout. Like it's pretty weak. When you actually have a porter or an actual stout porter, you go, whoa, that is hoppy. That is molasses, chocolate, charcoal, whatever. But because it's consumable by the general populace, and some people don't even like Guinness because it tastes like blah, or there's no flavor at all sometimes to some people, they don't care. So there is an argument to be made for mainstreaming things or streamlining things like Mass Effect 2, dumb down everything. Gameplay, stats, storytelling, characters, interface, just dumb it all down. And it becomes popular, it sells more. That doesn't mean it's a better product. It just means more people will be attracted to it for those elements.
We need to rewrite Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings so that it can be enjoyed by everyone.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Anyway, someone in chat saying if I could pronounce Kyo Gray hideout name without messing it up, they'll give me money. It's like, no, I'm not going to. No, I'm not going to say it properly.
Bullshit. Come on.
Yeah, but this is where this all goes to. Everything needs to be not mediocre, but the lowest common denominator, which is if you're in a class and you have the slow kids in there, the mediocre kids, and you have the smart kids in there. It's not about making the teachers not gonna make the lessons for the mediocre for the average of the class. The teacher's gonna make the class for the slowest kids, and that means that the fast kids completely fall off, get bored, and that's where they eventually break. That's what we constantly see with smart kids in public schools that then eventually break and completely fall off the competence level. Then I don't know the right words here. Their grades suddenly drop at some point because they never needed to learn before. Then they hit that point where they should start to, but they never have actually learned to because they never got challenged because the teachers only focused on the slowest kids in the class so that they get at least to the mediocre level. And this is what socialists want to do with everyone. It's not about everyone getting onto the mediocre level. It's that they want everyone on the dumbest level. And on that note, I recommend everyone read Carl Vonnegut's short story, Harrison Bergeron. Because that illustrates exactly what socialists in the end want and what they are already doing. Because they want to limit the competent ones.
Okay,
they want to eradicate the competent.
What you heard was something. What Whisp actually said was Kurt Vonnegut's Harrison Bergeron. Okay.
Yes, I think it was Kurt Vonnegut. Dude, that's a German name. I actually pronounced it right. Fuck off.
Unlike us with English sometimes.
Oh,
okay, Harrison is an English name, but
Bergeron is there's a cheese named after, but anyway, it doesn't matter.
At least it's better than someone trying to say Kyogre.
Are you sure the Swedish would pronounce it as Bergeron?
I would have to ask our Swedes. I don't know.
The Swede, I'm pretty sure the Swedish G is a hard G.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Like we like our consonants and vowels hard over here.
I don't.
It's the French. The French.
We like it hard.
We like our cheese hard.
The Brits that. Kein drauftreten.
Swan's the one that kept it going, not me.
Yeah, all right. I just wanted to say that.
So, no, I'm kidding. Yeah, no, I'm kidding. It's like anyway. Oh my god.
Matthews made a Gadsden flag, a Prussian Gadsden flag version
no.
for me. It's amazing.
Oh, no.
I want a high resolution thing of that and just print it for fun.
All right. Well, here's one last super chat from JJ Madness. Do it, Smud. Say Kyogre's hideout. I just did. Thank you for the money. Kyogre. It's words and letters. That's how they work in my brain. There you go.
Tea Earl Grey hot.
Tea. Yeah. Sometimes I get angry. I say Earl Grey hot tea, and I'm like, what?
You just confused the replicator.
Okay, is what? Gray hot? What the hell is gray hot?
Did you confuse the replicator?
Anyway. All right, we're more than halfway done. I'm not offended by this guy. He's just sort of saying things in a roundabout. This is not what the article's about. So
I'm offended because he's doing this oldest thing in the book. This is this disingenuous cherry picking. We've not seen that a lot lately, I'd say. I mean, this is the favorite tactics of the socialist activists have changed a bit, and the disingenuous cherry picking, I think that's still from this transitory stage because the Christians were doing this a lot. So now so the socialists maybe went big on that because they were familiar with it, and now it's just
it's kind of like
plain lying.
It's like, here's the reference. I'm not going to talk about the reference, but it's not that bad. And you're like, wait a second, dude, just read the damn thing and tell me what you think. And if you are wrong, or I think you're wrong, I'm going to read it myself and see exactly
that's why I did, because I know these sites do not write articles the way he presents them.
Yeah, I know.
He cherry-picked the parts out of them. The other parts of those articles completely support Ian Miles Chong's and Alpha Omega Sin's statements.
And they don't actually claim what the meaning behind the argument was, not saying, well, they're just raising questions. It's like, yeah, why do you think they're doing that? What do you think the context or reasoning behind, maybe it should be difficult, maybe it shouldn't be difficult? Like, what kind of mindset does that? It's definitely someone using Marxist materialist dialectic. So it's like...
Yeah. And do you think that if someone like Shaun is in power, that those kinds of questions will still be allowed?
Yeah.
If we all just had standard Hegelian dialectics or just essay formats for articles, here's my belief, my hypothesis, here are my supporting arguments, and here's my conclusion. That would be fine. That would make sense. I think Cuphead is too hard. Fair enough. Good for you.
Oh, I'm just asking questions, Mr. Socialist Tyrant.
Yeah.
Mr. Erich Honecker, Mr. East German leader, Mr. Fidel Castro. Mr. Stalin. I'm just asking questions here.
Yeah. Well.
Don't shoot me. I'm just asking questions.
Yeah. All right. We can keep going for another few minutes. I don't know how far you guys want to go. Cuphead's a cool game. Looks great. Plays well. Has good music.
I'm honestly glad we put him on speed.
Yeah, we would have been here at about 10 minutes if we didn't, or 12 minutes rather if we didn't.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
First of all, Ian Miles Chong would say, here come the attacks, considering that concerns about its animation style had been raised as early as 2014, with one journalist in particular stating that Cuphead's character designs seem like callbacks to some really problematic racial caricatures from the 1930s.
Yeah, that proves his point. Shaun, that proves his fucking point. And it even makes it worse because it means that's been going for 3 years at that point. And didn't stop. Like, it's as if the question has never been answered. For 3 years. How incompetent are you, fuckheads?
Not sure what to think of them. That journalist there being Zach Smith responded, disagree completely. Why do people overanalyze everything? To which Ian responds, because it's important to look at the world with a critical eye. That was...
Ian started out as an SJW. He was on your side. Until you cancelled him. I think quite violently even.
I see nothing wrong with examining things with a critical eye. There is a specific problem with overanalyzing. But you have to know that type of mindset because it's like someone who's studying a topic or who knows a topic very well and their knowledge is so esoteric that they have this insight that no one else would have, and they're not using it properly. They're looking at something generic, using this esoteric knowledge, and they're applying all these theorems and ideas. You're like, dude, we're talking about butter, adding it to bread, making it rise. It's not, it's not a complicated process. He's going on about sodium bicarbonate and all the other elements of yeast, and it's like, dude, no. We're just butter, flour, heat, time. That's it. That's all you do. There's all these. How long?
Minus 15.
Yeah, there's all these.
85 years ago. 85 stuff from 85 years ago.
You can easily pick apart an essay or an opinion when they are overanalyzing. It's easy. It's very easy.
Yeah, I mean, and with something like this, I'd say it's like saying that, we shouldn't use in those Disney cartoons, for example, artistic depictions of flashbacks for storytelling of Spartan and other Hellenistic art, because those were very warring and fascistic societies and eugenicists. So we should not use their art forms to tell stories about that time, for example. I'm sorry, that's just an insane thing to do. It's like saying, we shouldn't use all the communist art forms to tell stories in that vein, for example. Especially about that, because there's some very weird things. It's getting a bit late. But it's like I have a hard time wrapping my head around this whole condemning a certain thing because through happenstance it has some evil cooties of something. In this case, racism. I don't want any communism in my world because that just destroys things.
Yeah,
it just brings misery. But there are products from that time that worked despite the communism, that worked without any connection to it. Like The Little Mole. I don't know if that ever was translated to English. It was a little cartoon, has this very flowery artistic style, and it's just a wholesome kids cartoon. And it has nothing to do with socialism or communism. It's just a little cartoon about a little mole and his animal friends and having little wholesome things happening. So I wouldn't want to miss that.
Yeah, this is the equivalent of saying, well, anyone who draws acrylic architectural drawings or paintings of German train stations clearly are inspired by Hitler. So, if you ever draw one of those things, I mean, it's obviously totalitarianist artworks. Like, okay, sure it is.
I would be fine with completely banning brutalist architecture, though.
Oh yeah,
yeah, because that is just psychological death.
Oh well, I would agree. We have, believe it or not, our Union Station in downtown Toronto has really gross concrete with white or grayish sketches. It looks like bad scribble sketches, and it's all throughout the walls. It just looks gross. Union Station, the main hub of all the subways and trains at Toronto, right downtown. It looks disgusting. Anyway.
Yeah, that's. Ugh.
Yeah, I don't know. We have these amazing artwork pieces in Russia, and all their stations are gorgeous. It's a whole life down there underground. And we have these shit artists we give millions of dollars to draw sketches of bullshit that look disgusting. It's just stupid. Anyway, 16 minutes. We're going to go for another one or two, and hopefully this guy goes somewhere else aside from referencing Twitter posts. I hate this argument. It's like, look, this guy said something on Twitter, therefore it's bad.
Oh, cherry picking.
Yay.
That was before the nest in his head, I guess. So it's 2014. Correct. Well, I decided to do a little investigating and watch
the ant colony. You mean before your socialist friends descended like a mob on him and I keep mixing it up whether it was Ian Miles Chong or the other
guy,
Asian reporter,
yeah,
who got beaten bloody with a concussion, with brain with actual damage to his head. It was either Ian Miles Chong or I can't remember the bloody name.
I know he works for the Post Millennial. Andy No.
Yes, Andy No. So one of the two. And at least one of the two was in SJW and then got harpied on. I think it was Ian Miles Chong. But him saying the ant colony got into his head. Shaun, you are the ant colony people. Your communism is the one that is obsessed with ants and think that human society should be organized along the ways of the ant. Because you think every human is an ant and should work accordingly, which is not a classless society, by the way.
All right.
And watched a bunch of old anime. Now, fair warning here. I'm about to show some some of this shit is just absolutely dreadful.
Why are you showing this?
A lot of people back then were super racist, and so was their entertainment.
So
we
what?
know that. And if the animation style was all that linked to Cuphead to these cartoons, I consider this kind of a stretch. But honestly...
Dude, did the white people look any better?
What? This has nothing to do with Cuphead. Absolutely nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, the animation is only one part of it. Cuphead shares a lot of other similarities with these cartoons, and some of them are rather awkward. So let's take a look at a few of these similarities. First of all, Cuphead and Mugman are gamblers who, tempted by easy riches, play dice with the devil and then have to be punished. And this gambling motif comes up time and time again in relation to the crude African-American caricatures.
What?
Where are the crude African-American... Who's African in this picture? A bishop chess piece is on the right. Okay. There's Cuphead. There's Mugman. There is a skeleton. And there's these two guys in the background. I don't know. A guy with a square head and a guy with a circular head.
King Dice.
Yeah. Where's the black guys? Where are the African Americans?
So after saying, "Oh, it's just fake outrage of racist connections," he is now making the actual connections.
Oh, gee, I wonder who he's calling black in this image. I don't know.
The devil? Oh, we can't demonize the devil. That would be wrong.
I have no idea. None of these characters look like the tribal people in the thing before.
I'm confused.
In the old
I don't know what the hell he's talking about. Let's just keep going.
In these cartoons from the period. For example, All This and Rabbit Stew features Bugs Bunny using a pair of dice to hypnotize a rabbit hunter.
Now wait a minute, Doc.
So?
Relax. Now.
That just looks like Black Elmer Fudd, really.
This has nothing to do with Cuphead, but okay, let's keep going.
Yeah, and if his lips weren't that pronounced, you couldn't see a difference between him and Elmer Fudd, really.
Wait a minute. What y'all got there, man? It couldn't be a pair of them.
And this is something that's repeated in the cartoon Angel Puss.
What is your point, sir?
Cherry picking.
Yeah, but
a supposedly comedic cartoon version of Uncle Tom's Bungalow ends with the titular character purchasing his freedom. And how could he afford to do that? Well, he got rich with a pair of loaded dice, obviously. The cartoon Clean Pastures has a group of angels trying to entice the residents of cartoon Harlem to go to Paradise. Paradise. Get it? It's like paradise.
Yes.
And a cartoon called Coal Black and the Seven Dwarves. Get it? Has this guy with dice for teeth. What is it with the dice?
I don't know, dude.
I can give you an idea. Black people in America were quite Christian, and the motif of playing away your soul, losing your soul in a game with the devil, is a very prominent theme that you can see in many preachings. Because you can make this everywhere. We had this in pre-Christian times with the the Germanic tribes at the Roman border, the German tribesmen often gambled away their freedom with the Roman soldiers in drinking games and such. And then they became Roman slaves just because they lost their freedom in a game. Happened all the time. They could also win it back, by the way.
I see nothing wrong with telling a story about a bunch of guys who lost at gambling and have to do something for the proprietor. I don't...
Yeah, this is essentially like... the equivalent to this would be the devil trying to entice you with drugs, so don't do drugs.
Yeah, something...
The message here is don't trust the devil giving you gambling. Don't trust gambling. Don't trust gamblers. Don't fall to gambling because it will steal your soul.
It could have been Katamari King. I don't care. It could have been anyone. Like whoop-de-doo. Okay, so JJJ Madness, thanks for the 5 again. It's thanks to people like Shaun that entertainment is dying. I don't know. I think Shaun's just building a paper house, or a house of cards, rather.
Yeah, I love that he's completely contradicting his prior. Oh, it's actually really totally not about making racist connections, and then he's making that very thing.
They could be playing a game of blackjack and lost at blackjack at the casino, and they owe the Devil King or the Dice Dude, whatever. It's the same story. They owe this guy. That's why they're on their quest. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing to do with dice or chips or drinking or any other vice you could bring up. It's a casino. It could have been anything. Oh my goodness. Let's go.
Anyway, the cartoon I watched that was most relevant to Cuphead to Meat and Time, which besides being fucking racist as balls, obviously, features a story that is pretty close to the one in Cuphead.
What, because
in
it's
that
ugly?
cartoon, various caricatured black people are heading to a church. Oh god. All except the main character, who's playing dice, if you can believe it, behind a fence, before being admonished by a different racist stereotype. Later slipping out of church to steal chickens, the character's hit on the head and experiences a vision of being sent to hell to answer for his various crimes, including playing dice, obviously, and stealing watermelons.
It sounds like it's trying to teach people watching the show something, huh? Gambling could be bad.
This sounds like a very pro-Christian cartoon.
I don't it may have obvious racial tendencies, but it's trying to teach you something. We get it. Like, it's not hard. I don't know what raising Dickens is, though. Maybe that's a euphemism. I couldn't. Missing church, stealing watermelons. Stealing is bad, guys. Okay.
Yeah, but it's racist because of the watermelons.
Because it's watermelons.
If this was about Germans, it would be stealing beer.
Oh yeah.
Or stealing Wurst.
Yeah. Well.
Great.
Oh my god.
What is it with Americans stealing burgers?
It's the devil who sings a song.
Oh, you got to give the devil his due. You got to give the devil his due. Up on earth, you always have your way. Drank your gin and slept your life away. Now, since for that, you're gonna have to pay, cause you got to give the devil his due.
Now, if you're watching this and you've played Cuphead, you'll have noticed many similar.
Yeah, my question here is the guy sent to hell because he's black? Probably not.
He just banged
because
his head.
He did bad things.
This is a dream. He's hallucinating. This has nothing to do with reality.
Yeah, but that aside, is he in hell and judged by the devil? In this case, it's his subconscious judging him. When it's a dream. Because he's black? Or is it because he did bad things that are associated with the devil tempting you?
Not going to church on Sunday and playing dice behind a fence is bad. Or drinking gin.
Yeah, but it's okay. But what the question is, what other free time occupations could you do at the time? Playing dice, playing cards,
yeah,
maybe playing darts,
betting on horse races. I have no idea.
Yeah, I think this is just dice is just a very easy thing.
Pick a vice. Yeah, exactly.
And it's a thing that that humans played for millennia. Why it's there specifically associated with black people, I don't know.
Yeah, that's. I mean,
I'm telling you, and yeah, I'm telling you, these German tribesmen back in the day with the Romans, they played dice games, and they lost their freedom to the Romans. That's like losing your soul to the devil, isn't it? There's a bit of a similarity there. So are the German tribesmen now black people?
now maybe there's a mod or some sort of DLC you can get where Cuphead shoots bratwurst instead of little balls.
No, that would be a mod.
It would be a mod. Okay. Boy.
I mean, maybe I don't know. Maybe we only know the gist of what's going to be in that last DLC for Cuphead.
Well, he could be filled with beer and he'd be foaming over his head. That'd be kind of cool.
Maybe like some gags or something,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
Powered up with beer carbonation.
Well, I don't think they'd go that far, but
Similarities here. It's not just the animation.
I'm Mr. King Dice. He just what I say.
That's cool.
The devil has his price, and I'll make sure you pay.
You see, what the Cuphead developers have done is watched these cartoons and said, well, we love the music, the dice, the main characters being punished for irresponsible gambling, the cartoon devil, the way the cartoon devil leans in like that, his eye gets all big. You know, all these trappings that were designed.
it's an homage.
Trappings?
It's
Yeah,
an homage.
Several characters do that eye thing. The cat boss does the eye thing. And it was a common thing in general in animation, I believe.
This is the weakest
Yes.
shit I've ever heard. Dude, it looks the same. It must be racist? What?
No, it's an homage.
And he is now making. I know I repeat myself, but he is making the very it's racist connection that he before claimed those other articles don't make that, and it's completely out the wazoo and it's just hogwash. And now he's making those very arguments.
You know who also looks like the devil? Every biped with 2 arms and 2 legs and a head.
Yeah.
Like every human. Is that not connecting here? That anyone can associate 2 people dancing with the devil or an angel or a human or a baby or...
How did the devil get involved in the Pick of Destiny?
The Pick of Destiny.
Yeah, the Jack Black movie that was actually somewhat funny with a bit of cringe.
Oh, really?
That made that made a complete album because it was basically a metal musical.
Oh, really?
You haven't seen the Pick of Destiny?
I thought it was a video game. What are we talking about?
No, that was Brutal Legend.
Yeah.
Man, watch the Pick of Destiny.
All right. Anyway, this is a stretch. Hey, this animation had a dancing ragtime song with the devil. Here's our version of a dancing ragtime song with the devil. And your point being?
You know what I get from this? Not that Cuphead is racist, but rather that SJWs want to take away gambling. Want to whitewash gambling as not being dangerous.
Man.
That gambling with the devil is actually an okay thing to do. That is what your logic produces here in the end.
I hope they never
that we are not allowed to make a gambling with the devil allegory, analogy, metaphor.
I hope they never.
Isn't that basically what the loot boxes are now?
Oh, really?
Oh dear.
I didn't think about that. I would be hard pressed to learn what these people would discover if they ever read a book on D&D or the Pathfinder series with all their devils and angels and like literal representations of demons.
Oh, but smart. Have you not noticed that in Pathfinder 2, it's just especially in Pathfinder 2, it's what the Blizzard did in World of Warcraft. There are no evil races. It's just everyone's just misunderstood.
Oh, really?
No creature, no demon, no devil, no eldritch aberrant abomination from the abyss is actually truly evil.
Really?
It's nobody's inherently evil. It's just a cultural thing.
Well, if they play the Pathfinder games, they'll know they're very much the characters outright tell you they're evil, including going into their psyche and seeing what they want to do to you. So.
Dude, they made what was it? The Mind Flayer people, the Illithids. They redeemed them as not being evil slavers.
What, in Baldur's Gate 3?
In D&D 5.
What?
They're not evil slave. They're not evil slave creature parasites anymore. They're now just misunderstood. And I'm just waiting for the point where you can play an Abeloth and be neutral good.
Oh my god!
It's just.
I'm playing a Lich right now. I'm freaking evil. Okay, that's great. It's fantastic. I don't know why I'd want to play a good Lich. That seems kind of boring.
Yeah, but you would probably just have one in your entire game world. It would be an interesting. I've had. Was that a campaign or was it an anime I saw? Where there was an actual good Lich. But he only turned himself into a Lich, so an actual mage who turned himself into a Lich deliberately in order to protect the people of his village that he loved.
Oh, there's a few mangas out there like that I've read.
Yeah, and then he gets slain by heroes because it's a Lich, we must kill him. Yeah. And that's just essentially how they then doomed the whole place.
There's a really good one actually where he's the hero, not the hero, but like the hero next to the hero, and they both get killed and thrown out of the town or whatever after saving the day, and he's so angry at the people for doing this to the hero and himself that he comes back as a Lich and enacts revenge on everyone. It's great.
I think where I knew this from was a retelling of a campaign where the DM deliberately mindfucked his players because they were just these dumb murder hobo dungeon looters, and he put a village that turned out to be undead. So they first befriended some people, then they realized they're undead, so they killed all of them, and then figured out a Lich or something. Oh, no. They killed the Lich, thereby ended the undead spell, and then it turned out that the entire village were undead, so they were now proper dead, and then realized that they basically destroyed this whole nice place. And so it dawned on the... I don't remember the exact details, I'm sorry. But the conclusion was that he played the campaign completely straight, didn't give them... They could have chosen different the entire time. They had enough options for that, but they just didn't. They just ran with this blind, we are the player characters, we have a paladin, these are undead, so they must be evil, so we slay them because they're undead. And in the end, the reveal came that this entire thing was now going to actual hell because the undead in this area with the Lich were the actual good guys.
Yeah.
And then the entire party, because they thought they are the good guys, completely the players were shattered on the realization that, oh fuck, we were the apocalypse, because they went from... There's something coming back. They went from village to village and kept hearing about a horrible group of evil raiders or mercenaries or something that was causing havoc and killing people. And like they were always behind them. So they were always kind of trying to chase them, but never found them. And as it turned out in the end, they realized, oh, those tales about those murder hobos, that was us. Because we were killing the actual good people. That was great. This is great telling. If you can pull that off with your players, you are a dungeon master god.
All right.
I'm sorry, I'm not good at retelling it.
I'm gonna stop this soon because what he's doing now is
the interesting part.
it's stupid. It's
I
really
know.
This is like basic level referencing and comparing A to B and going, look at this apple, isn't it an orange? You're like, no.
No.
You want to go five more minutes and then see.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
At the time to mock black people. We love all them. We just don't like the caricatures themselves, so we'll swap out the stereotype for a little cartoon cup man instead, and we're good to go. Speaking
Isn't
to
that an improvement?
Kotaku, game designer Chad Moldenhauer said, "We went into the game knowing that what we wanted from the era was the technical, artistic merit, while leaving all the garbage behind."
No. You see, this is what you say to a biased interviewer to have them the interview keep going and not make them feel like shit. Because if you have an interviewer from the Christian Mothers of America, obviously you're going to say something nice about Jesus. And we thought about, religion, but we didn't know how to do it properly. So we thought we'd have a Jesus-like character, but we wanted to make it mainstream. Like you say all this stuff to appease.
And you want to convey this message about not gambling your soul away to the devil.
Yeah, so they're going to make some shit up just to make this guy they're talking to like what they're saying. Oh, really? Wow. Tell me more about that. You have to keep talking. Because obviously it's just an art style. They have no idea. It's like, it's an art style. Whatever.
There's one more thing of note here. This just taking the good stuff and leaving the bad stuff behind.
Which is perfectly fine.
Yeah, that is something that in the eyes of the SJWs are doing by how they're ruining Marvel and DC and video games and role-playing games and all of that stuff by changing the stories to their preferred ideological topics, by switching character races and sexes out.
When we talk about game design, this is totally normal to say, you know what, I love this game, but, and then you say, I wish it was like this. And that's one of the motivations for a game designer to go about making and designing a game.
And you could say in the sense of Cuphead, that's the positive application of that idea.
Yeah, I don't see a problem with this. I don't care.
Yeah, the way the SJWs do it is malicious and evil, because they go around and say, it's all cis, white, heteronormative patriarchy, and therefore we must switch all the strong male characters with black, disabled, trans females.
Yeah, I remember the reference in the Star Trek, the original Star Trek, about talking how they found some civilization which was founded on Nazism, and how Spock said something like, "Oh well, the Hitler brought back the economic powerhouse of Germany within years," or whatever. It's like, yeah, you could study an empire. You could study how a conqueror did whatever if it was good for the people. You can just take that element and say, why did that work the way it did? And use it without having all the other crap like murdering people and all this other stuff, which was bad. I don't see what's wrong with this philosophy of taking the good and leaving the bad. This is what we do.
And Georgios Rex brings a great example, the way they go about rewriting Warhammer 40k, where they accuse that of racism and fascism and everything, and Games Workshop is so scared of that they're actually starting to destroy their own franchise, their own world, which was always a bit wonky and contradictory, but they're now really starting to take it apart. And while that universe was never meant to be in any way nice, that's the universe where everything is horrible out of necessity to survive. You can't make that into a nice world. That's a dumb idea. The whole point of that is that a forever war is shit. And the problem in 40k is that there are existentialist threats to not just humanity in that universe, in that galaxy, that we do not have on this world, like orcs that are spores that if you just have one left on your planet, you'll get your orc infestation again. Tyranids that eat all the biomass on the planet and then move on to the next. Necron that come out of the ground by the trillions and just disintegrate everything with their super technology. And actual chaos demons from hell-like dimensions that warp the mind and bring mutations and disease and whatnot about people and madness. Those are such existentialist threats that you have to go all out crazy in order to have a chance just to survive. On our little Earth here, we do not have threats of that level. So nothing could even remotely justify such a system of governance and culture in any way. The greatest threat we have so far, if we look throughout history, is communism, is socialism. That's the only thing that goes into that direction of threat level. Thanks, Shaun. You are the closest thing to the big menaces of 40K. I hope that honors you.
Okay.
To what can that be done? Is it possible? Environment, I guess, is the question. Now, to be fair, these cartoons are only a part of Cuphead's design influences. There's some Tom and Jerry in there, some Popeye, Betty Boop, and so on. But the racist cartoons had their influence too. The guy with the dice for a head singing that the devil has his price, he could have stepped right out of one of these cartoons, and that's, well, so? I don't know, it's worthy of a conversation, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's not racist. You see, all these things, like, it looks like a racist thing, but it isn't. It reminds me of a racist thing, but it's not. Why is he making this distinction? This is the same thing I said about, oh, this is the style of art that Hitler was painting. Well, therefore, you're painting like Hitler. It's like, what? No. No, I'm not. Thousands of people draw like this or paint like this. Like, how far does this go? Well, this Bugs Bunny or whatever, the Roadrunner always hurts that poor coyote. It's hurtful against animals. It's like, that's the point, to see how foolish the coyote is and how clever the Roadrunner is.
All I see here is that it's an attempt at making a connection while saying, but I'm not actually making the connection. Why are you talking about it so much? Why are all these websites talking about it so much then? And asking questions when there's your easy answer.
Yeah, and the
this
interview,
is something you can have in one interview. You have that quite bad faith question, and then you get the answer like, yeah, we like the animation style, and so we took the good parts of it, left what we didn't like out, and
exactly.
There you go.
Problem question solved. Yeah, all the stuff you had with issues that could this be racist, you asked the guys, no, we don't want to do that. It's like,
this doesn't justify tons of articles.
Exactly. And the analysis is done. It's like, not that it's difficult to use your brain and your eyes connected to your brain, saying, that's a giant mermaid creature.
Yeah, the problem with this, why we get so many articles about this, is not just the activism, not just the propaganda pushing. It is that this market is completely oversaturated. They're pushing out articles upon articles upon articles. And personally, I wonder what actual gamers are reading these crap articles in the first place.
Exactly.
Who is reading this stuff? I don't think it's gamers, because gamers play a game, buy a game. If anything, they're on Steam, heard of the game, saw a trailer, saw it on the front page, looked at the trailer, saw some gameplay, saw some graphics, looked at the is it positive, overwhelmingly positive, mixed, bad, and that's it. That's how people buy games most of the time. They do not read bullshit like this. But these people are trying to push it on us and make it appear. They make it appear as if this is relevant, so that game developers change how they make games.
Yeah, and people who...
These articles are not for us. They're not for us gamers. They are to paint an image for game developers.
I think the average person who saw the Cuphead animation went, oh, look, it's like classic Disney or whatever. And they didn't think or know of the history of all the other... Disney was before Fleischer, or I don't know how Disney acquired Fleischer style, or I don't know what that is.
Wasn't it at the same time? Kind of.
Relatively, yeah, but
More or less, yeah.
Even then, people don't go, "Oh wow, racist animation." No, they go, "Oh cool, Disney, classic Disney," and that's it.
I think here in Germany, nobody knows the difference between. Nobody has even heard of Fleischer animation. We've seen some of the cartoons, but I think people here just think it's Disney.
Yeah, exactly. So
And that's sad.
that is fair to the consumer, because when I saw that animation, I'm like, wow, that is really unique. I've never seen that done before in a video game. It looked great. The trailer looked amazing. And it's not enough for me to buy it because, I don't know, it's just not my style of game. But it's cool. I can admit that is a cool looking game. I've never seen it before. So that's it. That's as far as it needs to go. And I'm a fairly old guy compared to who this was probably targeting, maybe like 15, 20-year-olds. I don't know. So that's it. Like, you don't need a history lesson on animation in North America to talk about this stuff.
Well, I think you can. What was his name? Alex?
Yes. The one with us, yes.
Yeah, he's not here with us anymore, because I would ask, because visually the style is interesting, even though it's not my favorite thing to go to. But I would ask the question: is this game suited for 6 to 12-year-olds?
I'd say
Still
so.
in the DM group, you can ask him.
I'd say so. Yeah, the game is not that complicated. It's
no,
hard.
not from how complicated it is, but from visual things that happen.
If I was playing like Ninja Gaiden as a kid, then yeah, this is totally fine.
Someone with knowledge of these racist cartoons them and made to feel uncomfortable. Well, that's a perfectly legitimate reaction.
Wait, those cartoons are from last century, is almost a century ago.
Yeah, so some 97-year-old woman feels uncomfortable looking at Cuphead and goes, "That's racist? Give me a break." She's really like burning the hours away playing Super Mario World 3 or something in her old age. Come on.
Oh no.
Give me a break.
Yeah, and Shaun, you people never give a shit about the victims of communism having to face all your communist bullshit propaganda and flying the hammer and sickle flag again. You don't give a shit about those people. And I'm not going into detail about the atrocities of communism now, because that's getting a bit off topic and we're running out of time.
All right.
I'm certainly not going to argue with those people. Cuphead here. I like Cuphead. I'm just talking about it. And I feel
you're just making the
reiterate
arguments
that right now because of something else I saw on Twitter. Video game designer Mark Kern is one of the people on the making up things about games journalists to justify hating them bandwagon. And he's tweeted a whole bunch of times about how everyone is calling Cuphead racist. And apparently...
All right, this is stupid. He's just, again, Twitter. This is not an argument. Here's some guy's opinion. He's saying this. It's not my opinion, but this is what he's saying. It's like, dude, make a point or stop it.
And I can. Mark Kern is a game designer who knows what he's talking about in the industry. And he saw the decline of Blizzard happen from inside. And it is because of shitheads like you, Shaun.
All right, I'm gonna end it there.
There were two forces. There were two forces there. And you are the second force that just hammered it into the
This
grave.
is just a waste of time, honestly. He's just here's a Twitter. It's like, no, that's not an argument. All right, Western bigots drawn to Japanese VTuber fandoms because
what are you doing?
I'm doing memes. We're done. This is
man,
dude, this is pointless.
Tell me.
Anyway, here's Shaun from
Yes, it is.
Shaun Vids.
That's obvious from doing a Shaun video. I said that from the start.
Western bigots drawn to Japanese VTuber fandoms because of, rather than in spite of, their lack of understanding of the language functions similarly for them as women existing but not talking. What?
Wait, I need to reread that.
Western bigots drawn... Okay, I don't know what that means. Drawn to Japanese VTuber fandoms because of, rather than in spite of, their lack of understanding of the language functions similarly for them as women existing but not talking.
What?
So when people watch VTubers is the same
Watching
as...
Japanese VTubers.
Well, yeah. Are there any other kinds? I don't know.
There are English-speaking VTubers.
Oh, really?
So I don't know what specific subgroup he's talking about. The ones that watch the Japanese VTubers probably understand Japanese.
This is what? Like, what is this?
This is schizo shit.
So people watch Japanese VTubers without understanding what they're saying? In the same way that they think of women existing but not talking to them, or them talking to you? Like, what?
This is feminist schizo shit.
I'm not even sure what his point is.
I'm saying, yeah, but because it's insane. It's complete insanity.
And how are they bigots? Because let's say they don't like women, or they're scared of women.
That's his initial claim. The group that is Western bigots, whoever that is, however he defines that.
It's just bizarre.
Schizo shit.
Gamers gaslighting. Who are these people? I don't play games except for this one. I'm going to talk about racism from the 1920s. It's like, go for it, buddy. We can respect Dean retracting, though. Yeah, I think we all did. That's fine.
Oh, Matthews is happy that I agreed with him.
Okay. Wait, a socialist democrat being a disingenuous fraud. Yeah.
I don't think Shaun would refer to himself as a social democrat.
I don't even think he knows.
That's too soft for him.
Yeah, I don't think he knows what he's talking about specifically.
Comments from the video.
Yeah, Seth Campbell. What is it with the dice? Black people were portrayed as compulsive gamblers to explain away the generational poverty as their own fault.
Oh, man.
Okay, whatever.
Okay, so and the Irish are all drunks and therefore are incapable, or what?
Yeah, all the Irish, they can't hold their liquor, or they just keep drinking. They get into fights.
Every demographic has its virtues and vices.
Yeah.
And maybe you want to address them.
I want an ASMR video that's just Shaun saying Cuphead again and again in that smooth, sleepy Liverpoolian purr. Okay.
Cuphead.
I've heard nicer Liverpoolians.
I'm an animator and I really like the animation style of Cuphead, but I acknowledge the roots of it are wrapped up in racist disgust. Also, that terminal illness thing happened to my dad. He died in late July, leaving my mother and I with grief and financial turmoil, but I still found a moment to agree that Cuphead is problematic in some ways. People think about lots of things.
What?
I really don't get the comparison. That guy is a fuckhead.
What?
How is Cuphead problematic in any way? Give me one way.
In while grieving and having financial turmoil because your father died, you still found a moment to be socialist, problematic, blah about Cuphead? That's stupid.
I still don't see how Cuphead is problematic. I don't see it. I really don't.
Sounds so stupid.
This depiction of a demon looks like the devil. You must be anti-Semitic. Like, what?
Same logic.
Natalie Kirk. Oh, I already read that one. Sorry. Mr. Gray. The ultimate irony of Alpha Omega Sin is that he loves Persona, a game series where you play as literal warriors of social justice and progress?
No.
I've played all the Persona games up to 5. What are you even talking about?
I tell you, these people are delusional and they project their politics everywhere.
The Persona games has an event like the 13th hour or going into a TV world and discovering the minds of a murderer.
Yeah, but don't you know that those are all gay and trans characters?
Right. No.
There are no trans characters.
They do not exist.
I know that.
In Persona.
You know that, but they project it, and that's why they see it all as social justice.
I don't.
Because still idiots.
These people can't interpret things right.
In Persona 2, they're everyone's a goth. They all have like angsty vibes. I don't think that's social justice or progress. They're just angry at society.
Yeah, but isn't that what they feel?
I don't know. The third game, everyone wants to die. Everyone's like, ugh, life is pointless. It's nihilistic. In the fourth game, everyone.
And then
look,
and
that's
the main
another
character,
thing that's very.
and then the main character does die. I think.
Yeah, but look, that's also nihilism is rampant in social justice circles.
Oh, that could be it.
It all fits perfectly together. Why they project their bullshit onto that?
That's the fourth game is happy. The fifth game is a mix of the two. Persona Strikers is an action fun, very similar to the fifth game. I don't know. I'm trying to. What is social justice in Persona? I don't get it.
It's a trick question.
Holy hell. There's a lot going on in those games, but I don't think social justice is one.
So the Persona games are as much social justice as Cuphead is racist.
Maybe.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know. Racism, now you're speaking my language. Hawk, thanks. Persona is a progressive game that progs misunderstand and get angry when it doesn't confirm their misunderstanding.
Pretty much what we just talked about.
Yeah, the exact same. Yeah. I'm still like, I really have to think about that because there's so much going on in each of these games. There's so many events and so many characters. There could be like, because it deals with the mental world of so many people and so many ideas, that there could be an analogy of what justice is and seeking justice, but not social justice, not social reform. And that, because there's like a guy who's running for office and he's like standing on a soapbox. He's trying to get votes, and he comes back in the fifth game as well. So like there's little things like that, but it's not a game where you play as that. That's weird. Cure something. Socialist nig?
No. Hawk, stop.
Okay. I guess I'm the meme today. Kyogray's Hideout. There you go. It's
Kyogre.
There are Japanese names. That's how you pronounce them.
Kyo.
That's not how you pronounce that.
Like Kyosuke. Kyosuke. It's Kyosuke.
It's not the same though. It's not the same.
Why is it different from Kyo?
I don't know. I don't get it. Japan is hard. Anyway. KRTEK. What's going on here? Russian animals?
Oh, someone else dug the little mole out before me.
You got a hedgehog.
I forgot his Russian.
You got a frog.
I forgot his Russian name.
You got a mole, and you got some rabbits over there.
Yeah, this is a super wholesome cartoon from those days.
Are you sure? It could be racist. You never know.
Probably.
Yeah. The little mole. There we go. One of the few things that come out of despite communism. Is that?
Yeah.
Pokalefi. Okay, thanks. There it is again.
It's just a whole bunch of images of it moving on.
That's Whisp. Yeah. Pokalefi again.
I didn't see what was posted.
Der kleine Maulwurf.
Der kleine Maulwurf. The little mole.
The little mole. That looks pretty good, actually.
I love the picture with the moon, the crescent moon playing the violin.
I like the giant safety pin. The giant safety pin with the button in his pocket. That's kind of funny. I like that. Okay.
Oh no!
Wow. Guess Satan is black. I thought he was red. Wasn't it?
How many literature devil emotes do we have?
Yeah, I know.
I see 7 here.
You got a few. Okay, what is this?
Och, guck, Wetter kaputt, kommt Wasser raus.
All right.
Oh, look, the weather's broken. Water's coming out.
Broken.
I'm trying to figure out how that could be interpreted as being racist, but I can't. Holy jeez, how many of these pictures do we have? Good not.
Well, I know this one. I know this one means good night, my friend.
Yeah. Here's Kyogray's Hideout again, and there's Popeye eating spinach by punching the bottom.
I'm still like cringing at you saying it like that.
Honestly, that's how my brain works.
Kyogre, for fuck's sake.
Kyogre?
I refuse to call it that.
Kai Ogre.
That's what it is.
Why?
Oh, okay.
You got a problem with that? Tell it to Nintendo.
If it was,
Tell me, is that the US translation, localization, or is that the Japanese original?
if you
It
take,
might be the. I know it's at least the U.S. version of the name.
if you
Okay,
take,
I don't care about how the US pronounces Japanese names because they are just horrible at it, just like the Germans.
but if you take those two vowels and separate them, then you go Kai Ogre, or put a dash in there, or a hyphen rather. Then it makes sense. But Kyogre, like that's like Kyosuke.
Pokemon names don't do hyphens.
Yeah, but
Yeah, but Kyo is a standard syllable in Japanese.
there is our
Blame Nintendo for that.
wonderful Betty
No, I blame the US localization for that
Our-
until you prove to me that the Japanese is also pronouncing it in the way you pronounce it.
Is the world's most
Guess
famous,
what? I'm gonna. Oh, all right, fine. I'll look it up.
the world's most famous flapper, I guess. I don't know what to call her. What we got here? Big Chungus. There he is. There's the man. Blowing up like a balloon. Or a Chungus, whatever. Bloop. All right. And here's Tom and Jerry. Every sane person, whenever these weirdos try projecting their nonsense on everything. I'm not sure if he was
Yep.
projecting nonsense or he was just
Oh, he
trying
is.
to make connections, but not actually saying this is what he believes. I don't know. If a video is bad, always remember Chibi Ronnie existed. What is that?
Character from Elden Ring.
Why is there two faces and one's disembodied?
What? Oh, yeah.
That is a
Play the game and find out.
Well, here it is. This is how it's pronounced.
all right.
Kyogre.
Yeah,
Kyogre.
it is based on the Japanese pronunciation of the name, which is Kyogre. That's how it's spoken in Japanese.
That's a strange combination of letters then.
I thought it would be Kai.
It is.
Well, no, it's Kyo. Like
No. It's like no. You
Yeah, but
no.
KYO
You
is
say
Kyo.
it K. Yeah, you say it Kai. That's how it's. That's how
Why
it's.
would you
spoken.
pronounce it completely unintuitive?
Because the
It's-
Y replaces the AI.
It's the romanization.
In what language?
No. It's the
English, I guess.
romanization. That's what they do with Japanese. They do the phonetic version, which is the romanization of Japanese words. So now I know how to pronounce it. Kyogre. There you go.
Yeah, Kyogre.
There you go.
Yes.
Okay. Alex Halo, thank you for the 2. People watch so many translated clips of VTubers. Yeah, that's how I know them. I thought they were all Japanese. That's why they're called VTubers. They look Japanese anime.
Not all.
There's English VTubers? Really?
I believe so.
Really? JJJ Badness, you made the right choice getting out when you can, Smud. Now here's some money for suffering a Shaun video. Yeah, this is a guy who's trying to be intellectual but not actually making claims. He's just saying, well, here's this thing. And here's what this guy said. Here's another guy. Here's another guy on Twitter saying that is like, dude, I could read the news too.
We call that pseudo-intellectual.
Tell me why it's good or bad. Give me a value statement. It's not hard. Anyway, that's enough for me. I'm going to go get a drink. Get ready for tomorrow. Enjoy the evening. All that jazz.
Yes.
Not bad. Tomorrow's a Weeb day, so hopefully we'll have some good suggestions. I don't know what, but make it fun, please. Something that's not about racism and sexism and, sexual this or that. Just keep it fun, please. Anything. I've been playing
Something we could discuss without ripping our hair out.
yeah, I've been playing the Pixel remaster of Final Fantasy VI. That's awesome. It's just just as good as I remember it. The music is improved. They use real instruments or whatever. It sounds amazing. It's not the same like you hear like the Doma, the Castle of Doma sound or the Cyan theme. It's like, oh, that's a real flute, but then you miss the 16-bit wavetable, whatever they were using for a flute. So you miss some of the classic sound, but it sounds obviously much better.
I mean, but they did still have Uematsu supervising the new orchestrations, so at least they have the original mind behind the compositions. They're helping them.
It's beautiful. Like, the music is just fantastic. The animation, this pixel art is slightly better. I wouldn't say it's supremely amazing, but the effects, like the water effects, the shimmering light, the spell effects, like the Magitech armor effects, those are really cool. It it plays well. It sounds well. It's one of those games, like Final Fantasy is one of those games where it feels the first 5 hours or 6 hours is handcrafted. Like, everything is just like boom, boom, boom. And I appreciate that. And then
it's like five and 6 especially had a lot to live up to, because 5 and 6 got those god awful PC ports of the mobile versions that no one liked.
Oh.
So 5 and 6 in particular had that hurdle to leap over in terms of how good they were.
There is a few ratings I saw online of all the versions, because they redid the artwork for 5 and 6, and a lot of people weren't happy with that. I saw those sprites and I was like, well, it's not bad, but it just doesn't look right. It just doesn't feel like a.
Well, with 6 it's partially because they very intentionally went all out with the sprites in that one. The amount of detail in the sprites and the amount of sprites in general is just, it's compared to the first 5 games, it's phenomenal.
Yeah. Either way, I'm having fun, and it's just one of those great things to just sit back and enjoy. But Shaun videos, I don't mind doing more because he's not offensive. He's just, I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what his point is. He's just reading stuff.
Well, he will say, well, we didn't get to the end.
Yeah, right. Like, I need more of him to understand him. Anyway, not bad. Fun times. Good to hear. Glad to see we're all enjoying the weekend, or the last of at least, well, for me, I'm on evenings and Sunday. Whisp is obviously on Monday right now. But keep the suggestions coming. Keep the voting going. We'll talk to you guys real soon. Have a great night.